Chapter 1874. Back then, he had chosen freedom because he wanted to protect her. She chose to stay in her ancestor's tomb because she already had enough people by her side to protect her. The guardian of the Azure Dew bracelet, Old Song. The lover who gave her the profound phoenix ring, Dmo Xian. Therefore, they stayed in their ancestor's tomb with peace of mind and continued to protect the Yi family's inheritance. Those arrogant old men with cold faces but warm hearts, don't worry, we'll meet again. Old man Tsang couldn't help but let out a smile. His gentle gaze looked at Yiqing Luo's tranquil face. Don't think too much, let's go out first, don't you still have to rush to the battle plane? Mentioning the battle planes, Yiqing Luo's expression recovered, and as though she thought of something, her palm flipped and summoned the underworld mirror. There's no hurry to go to the battle dimension. With the protection of the netherworld, there's no need to worry about them for now. Although she said that, Yiqing Luo still activated the underworld mirror to lock onto Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin's position. She hadn't even spent more than a day in the ancestral tomb. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin had already rested well. He looked much more spirited. The two of them seemed to be communicating about something when Yan Xiaoyi suddenly stretched out her arms and wrapped them around Xiao Jin's neck. Xiao Jin was slightly startled, but he did not resist. The atmosphere was warm and sweet. Yiqing Luo didn't continue watching. Taking advantage of the safety of the barrier, he would let the two of them be alone for a while. Such an opportunity was hard to come by. Now Yan Xiaoyi had taken the initiative to attack. He should also take this opportunity to let Xiao Jin know his own heart. Old man Tsang, help me take a look at what this thing is. Yiqing Luo didn't keep the underworld mirror but threw the crystal ball towards Old Man Tsang. You're worried that the netherworld will make use of this plane's inconceivable technology to break the ancestral tomb's array? Old Man Tsang saw through Yiqing Luo's thoughts. I will not allow any accidents to happen. Yiqing Luo didn't believe in Yuming, so naturally she would doubt the use of the crystal ball. If the crystal ball could follow or monitor everything she did in the ancestor's tomb, then the netherworld could break the formation of the ancestor's tomb according to the content it followed or monitored. Then what should he do? She was a member of the Yi family. She would never allow anyone to destroy the Yi family's ancestral tombs. Especially, it was because of her. Old man Tsang took the crystal ball and used his profound energy to examine it, but he didn't find anything strange about the crystal ball. However, the strangest thing was that there was nothing strange about it. One must know that the crystal ball previously had its own consciousness, quietly left Yiqing Luo's body, and wandered around the ancestral tomb, and even attacked the spirit body. These were not things that an ordinary crystal ball could do. Yiqing Luo's perceptive ability was extraordinary. But she couldn't sense when the crystal ball left the brocade box it was in. There was definitely something wrong with this thing. Yiqing Luo controlled the underworld mirror and aimed it at the crystal ball. After injecting her profound energy into the underworld mirror, Yiqing Luo tried to search for the information in the crystal ball. Yiqing Luo wasn't familiar with the operation of the underworld mirror. She was just giving it a try. He wanted to use the method of locking onto Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin to derive some information from the crystal ball. Unexpectedly, he actually succeeded. Yiqing Luo's eyes lit up as she stared at the mirror. The internal structure of the crystal ball surfaced. She was shocked. Damn it! Ah Xian was too smart, too powerful. Chapter 1875. On the mirror, the internal structure of the crystal ball made one tongue-tied. The densely packed electronic data made Yiqing Luo's eyes dazzled. Previously under the training of those old men in the Yi family, Yiqing Luo was considered as an all-round existence. But only. Towards the electronic stuff, she had no interest to learn and was not proficient in it. Not to mention, this was an intricate electrical appliance and electronic data. Even if she had analyzed the internal structure of the crystal ball, to her, it was still a face of confusion. But the only thing she could be sure of was, this crystal ball was indeed not simple. She tried to issue an order to the underworld mirror, "Can you help me analyze the program instructions of these electronic data?" On the mirror, the densely packed electronic data suddenly disappeared. Not long later, the mirror surface rippled again. A crystal ball appeared on the mirror surface. That crystal ball was the crystal ball in Old Man Tsang's hand. On the side, the preliminary analysis information was displayed: tracking search bullet. After setting the tracking search target, it will automatically track the target. Once the target is found, it will automatically bring the target back and then explode. If the target is not found at the designated location, it will return to the person who set up the island and self-destruct. Yiqing Luo wanted to have a deeper understanding. But the pendant hanging around her neck suddenly shone with a strange ray of light. The profound energy in her body slowly dissipated. "Lass, don't forget, your profound jade heart is not stable now," Old Man Tsang reminded. "Based on your current ability, using the underworld mirror once will exhaust a huge amount of profound energy and it will affect your profound jade heart." Yiqing Luo heard that and released her hand from the underworld mirror. With a flip of her palm, she kept the underworld mirror. Her slender fingers touched the pendant on her neck. This was specially found by Dmo Xian for her, to temporarily replace the tranquil pearl. Earlier, in order to stabilize her profound jade heart, he specially suppressed her profound qi, which was about to explode. Tracking search bullet. From the name, it should only be a tracking search item, it shouldn't have any tracking or monitoring function. The preliminary information showed that there was no problem. This also proved that what Yu Ming said to her wasn't all fake. He did want to use this crystal ball to find something he wanted in the tomb of his ancestors. After you recover your profound strength, you can use the nether mirror's memory of the crystal ball to search for the crystal ball's whereabouts. At the same time, you can also find out who the netherworld is working for, Old Man Tsang suggested. Yiqing Luo kept the crystal ball into the brocade box and once again walked towards the periphery. "Yes, I also have the same intention." After leaving the ancestral tomb, this old man will continue to fall into a deep slumber. When we reach the battle dimension, this old man should wake up. Old Man Tsang glanced at the entrance of the tomb that they were about to reach. In the 21st century, although profound practitioners could use profound energy without any restrictions, they could not use it at all. However, his mental energy was greatly reduced. He summoned his battle pets and communicated with the spirit. All of these required extremely strong mental strength. Yiqing Luo's mental power was not enough to maintain the connection with Old Man Tsang after leaving the ancestral tomb. "Yes, with Xian around, don't worry." While speaking, Yiqing Luo had already walked out of the ancestral tomb. Yiqing Luo had just stepped out of the cemetery. A warm body had already covered Yiqing Luo's body. The man's boiling temperature dispelled the gloomy coldness that Yiqing Luo brought out from the cemetery. The elegant sandalwood fragrance made Yiqing Luo couldn't help but bury her head in his arms, taking a deep breath. Chapter 1876. Dmo Xian's chest was boiling hot. But it couldn't conceal the coldness of his robe. Apparently, ever since she entered the ancestor's tomb, Dmo Xian had been waiting outside for her return. Dmo Xian held her hand and kissed it gently. "Why do you feel so cold all over? Is the yin qi inside very strong?" Yiqing Luo's little face rubbed against his chest. Her body scent filled up her heart and warmed it up. Her arms circled around his firm waist as her voice was soft. "With Xian around, I don't feel cold at all." The young lady took the initiative to get close to him and Dmo Xian couldn't help but use his hands to encircle her tightly in his arms. His slender long fingers brushed past her hair as his voice was gentle and pampering. "All right, let's go to Yu Ming's place first. Use the warm water to take a bath and rest for a night. Tomorrow we'll head over to the battle plain." Yiqing Luo shut her eyes lazily. Dmo Xian carried her up by her waist. Yi Qing Luo immediately found a comfortable position in his arms. Yu Ming, who was called out by the side, had already yawned numerous times as his eyes were slightly red. Seeing Dmo Xian carrying Yi Qing Luo walking towards him, he wanted to ask about the crystal ball, but when he saw Dmo Xian's frosty face, he kept his mouth shut. Alright, in this great Buddha's eyes, nothing could be compared to Yi Qing Luo's health and safety. Yu Ming adjusted his state of mind. Since Yi Qing Luo had already walked out of the ancestor's tomb safely. Looking at her look, she seemed extremely relaxed. She should have gotten the item. So there was no hurry for this moment. Thinking till here, Yu Ming bowed slightly as he said calmly, "Then please follow me to my place to rest first." Yi Qing Luo was in a daze when she felt her body turning cold. The man's warm palm brushed past her skin, teasing her senses. Yi Qing Luo mumbled a few words as she raised her hand to push away the hand that was playing tricks on her body as she wanted to turn over and continue to sleep. But her body moved. Her clothes slid down from her body. Her skin instantly felt itchy. She abruptly opened her eyes to discover that she was leaning against the man's thick embrace. Half of her robe had already been untied, revealing half of her fragrant shoulder and a white pocket. Ah Xian! Yi Qing Luo caught hold of the hand that was still untying her pocket, her face flushed red. "What are you doing? I'll let you take a bath." Dmo Xian brushed her hand away and took off her clothes. Yi Qing Luo then noticed that the surroundings were filled with hot air. I am already awake. I can wash myself." Yi Qing Luo's face was flushed red as she pulled a towel over to cover her body and retreated from Dmo Xian's embrace. Previously at the hot spring, she had asked Dmo Xian to serve her bath. Gu Yu's heart was almost attacked by fire. This evildoer was too alluring. She didn't want to enjoy the same feeling a second time. He was determined to bathe himself. How could Dmo Xian let her escape? Her shimmering peach blossom eyes looked extremely seductive in the mist. His thin lips curved upwards as his mellow wine voice was extremely intoxicating. "Lil Luo, it's not the first time we've met each other honestly, and it's not the first time I've served you in the bath. What's there to be shy about?" His hand exerted a little force. Yi Qing Luo fell into his boiling hot embrace once again. Yi Qing Luo instantly blushed, and under his gaze, she felt her entire body heating up unknowingly. Between the two of them, there was only a thin towel. She was extremely shy as she racked her brains to think of an excuse to reject him. Before she could think of anything, Dmo Xian had already thought of a reason that she couldn't reject him no matter what. The grave's yin qi is too heavy. Other than using hot water to wash, you have to disperse that yin qi, otherwise once it enters your body, it will affect your body. Star. Chapter 1877. Alright, he'd won. Yi Qing Luo resisted the redness on her face as she gritted her teeth. "Alright. Disperse the cold air then. If you dare to take the chance to flirt with me, don't blame me for sleeping with you in the bathroom." In order to show a more vicious and evil expression, she stared at Dmo Xian's misty face and added another sentence, "and the kind of sleeping where you're hovering between life and death." Dmo Xian couldn't help but laugh. "Alright, I'll let you sleep however you want." Vicious and evil expression had no effect on Dmo Xian. On the contrary, it made Yi Qing Luo's face turn even redder. As a new human in the 21st century, she couldn't win against an ancient person and was even flirted with till her face turned red. What should she do? Waiting online, urgent. Yi Qing Luo was still gritting her teeth when her body suddenly felt light as she was carried by Dmo Xian. The towel on her body slid down. The jade-like body of the moon, under the bright and dazzling bathroom lights, seemed to be plated with rays. Previously those injuries in the dark sacred region, under his meticulous recuperation, there wasn't a single scar at all. Every part of Yi Qing Luo's skin was giving off an intoxicating charm. Her beauty was in her bones. Her charm was seductive to the bone. Dmo Xian's scorching gaze deeply gazed at every inch of Yi Qing Luo's skin. Yi Qing Luo bit her lower lip as she shamefully shifted her gaze away. Under Dmo Xian's scorching gaze, she could clearly feel her body temperature rising continuously. Her entire body felt weak and powerless. Her peripheral vision glanced at Dmo Xian's eyes. It was instantly engulfed by the burning flame in his eyes. Her mind was empty. It was indeed not the first time they met each other. And it was indeed not the first time he looked at her from head to toe. But she still felt extremely bashful. When her body submerged into the warm bathtub, Yi Qing Luo then dared to shift her gaze. The bathtub was filled with bright rose petals, concealing the body under the water. It also made Yi Qing Luo less bashful. Her curly long eyelashes fluttered as she stared at the man with a flushed face. You said before, only dispel the yin qi. Dmo Xian's hoarse voice was filled with a strong sense of affection. The mist was dense, and rose petals were fragrant. That peerless face of his became even more alluring. Her heart trembled fiercely. Ah Xian, hurry up and disperse the yin qi. Once you're done, then leave. What a torturous little devil. Why was he always flirting with her? Last time at the hot spring, she failed to retaliate and slept with him. He once again presented an opportunity to her. She would really be drowned in sleep. Yi Qing Luo suppressed the urge to turn into a wild beast. She was a woman, she had to be reserved. At the very least, he had to maintain his outward modesty. Otherwise, if she were to retaliate against a man, Dmo Xian would think that she was unsatisfied. Although, she was indeed, Dmo Xian was flirting with her very much. No. Full. The man's hand gently caressed her exquisite and beautiful face. The exquisite skin, the silky smooth touch made Dmo Xian's entire body tense up. He was a normal man, how could he be indifferent to the beauty of his beloved woman in his arms? The scorching heat in his eyes had already revealed the deepest thoughts in the depths of his heart. But, looking at the young lady's blushing face, he couldn't bear it any more. The petals in the pool were all overshadowed by Yi Qing Luo's bright and beautiful face. The slightly fluttering eyelashes, bit by bit, stirred his heart. Chapter 1878. His warm, thin lips landed on her forehead, which was scorched by the heat. The man's intimate touch made Yi Qing Luo's heart tremble slightly. She suddenly raised her eyes and met with a pair of peach blossom eyes which seemed to bear thousands of tender feelings in the world. The eyes were glistening, long and narrow with a demonic charm. In those eyes, there was only her alone. As though, in this world, the only person he could see was her alone. Yi Qing Luo's blush grew deeper. She was so embarrassed that she didn't know what to say. Lil Luo, don't show this kind of expression, it will make me mistakenly think that you are. The man's deep voice lingered by her ear, inviting me. Yi Qing Luo's cheeks were flushed, only in front of Dmo Xian would she reveal such a charming and enchanting look. His voice was extremely pleasant to the ears. Yi Qing Luo inexplicably thought of a sentence, this voice, even the ears are going to get pregnant from hearing it. She swung her fist and pounded on his chest. Following that, she turned her face to one side, not wanting Dmo Xian to tease her until she completely lost her rationality. Dmo Xian forcefully turned her head over. He forced her gaze to meet his. Yi Qing Luo shrank back slightly. The next moment, the man's breath had already spilled onto her face. The temperature was scorching, his breathing heavy. His lips were on hers. When their lips were on each other, they could only see each other. Evildoer. While she was muttering, Yi Qing Luo spat out 2 words. Following that, she couldn't be bothered about the so-called lady's modesty. This evildoer was thinking of ways to tease her. If she was still indifferent, then there must be something wrong with her brain. Yiqing Luo suddenly stretched out her arms, wrapping it around his neck. The body which was hidden in the water, suddenly exerted a little force. The man who was still wearing a purple robe, was forcefully pressed into the bathtub. The man's black hair which was scattered on his shoulders, was soaked in water. A purple robe, also in the water, was dyed like a poppy, mysterious and gorgeous color. Yiqing Luo's naked body, pressed on Dmo Xian. His wet hair fell on his cheeks. Yiqing Luo's fair little hand had already hooked onto the knot of his collar as she gave a devilish and enchanting smile. "Ah Xian, see if I don't make you hover between life and death." The corners of Dmo Xian's lips curled up into a warm smile. "I'll do as you wish, I'll cooperate fully." In the bathroom, water splashed and music overlapped. The silhouettes of people drifted about in the room. The next day, Yiqing Luo said that she wasn't in a hurry to go to the battle plains, so she wasn't in a hurry to go. She asked Dmo Xian to set up a barrier and locked the array within the barrier. Following that, she and Dmo Xian changed into this era's clothing and brought Dmo Xian along as they started to tour this world which she grew up in. She told Dmo Xian all her secrets in full detail. For example, she had once lived in this era for a full 20 years. For example, how she crossed over to the Nirvana realm and became the new Yiqing Luo. She did not hide anything or hold anything back. When Dmo Xian heard that, there were some doubts in his heart. If it was said that Yiqing Luo's soul had swapped bodies, then the Nirvana realm's Yiqing Luo had replaced her. That was when he saved her from the dark sacred region, when her soul was damaged. He and Ghost Doctor thought of all ways and means to help her stabilize her soul and restore her soul. Obviously, the soul and this body were extremely compatible. He totally didn't feel any presence of a reincarnated soul. But looking at Yiqing Luo's serious and solemn tone, she apparently really treated him as the outsider who had replaced her. In this, there should be some secret which Yiqing Luo herself didn't know about. Star. Chapter 1879. Thinking back to what the array had said, the reason why Yiqing Luo came to this plane from the soulless array. It was an expert who had spent over 100 years of cultivation to send her here. Obviously, that expert's motive was closely related to Yiqing Luo's transmigration to the Nirvana realm. Netherworld, could it be related to this matter? What happened? Yiqing Luo held on to Dmo Xian's arm as she indulged in the sight of him wearing a casual suit, yet still looking so handsome and peerless. Dmo Xian glanced sideways and smiled dotingly. "It's nothing." No matter what complicated secrets were hidden behind this matter, Dmo Xian did not intend to expose her for the time being. According to what Yiqing Luo said, Old Man Tsang had followed Yiqing Luo to Nirvana realm from this era. How could Old Man Tsang not see that Yiqing Luo's soul and flesh body were completely compatible? But now, Yiqing Luo still thought that she had reincarnated in another person's body. That also meant that Old Man Tsang didn't intend to let Yiqing Luo know about this matter. Based on Yiqing Luo's strong character, let's put this matter aside for now. No matter if Yiqing Luo was Yiqing Luo or the Yiqing Luo who had reincarnated. His little Luo was his little Luo. Leading Dmo Xian, he toured one round around the 21st century. The two returned to Netherworld's villa. The Netherworld was not in the villa. Yiqing Luo thought of something and pulled Dmo Xian back to the room. She flipped her palm and summoned the nether mirror. What? Worried about Xiao Jin and Xiao Yi? Dmo Xian held her waist as the both of them leaned against the soft bed. Yiqing Luo shook her head. Yu Ming wants to leave this plane, he doesn't dare to lie to me. Then what do you want to investigate? Dmo Xian lifted a lock of her silky hair and brought it to his lips. Yiqing Luo curled her lips mysteriously. Injecting Xian energy, the surface of the mirror began to fluctuate. Soon after, a dazzling crystal ball appeared. You gave the crystal ball to Netherworld? Dmo Xian knew what Yiqing Luo wanted to do with just one look. Yiqing Luo raised her brows with a smile that didn't look like a smile. If I don't give it to him, how would I know his secret? The Netherworld would never have thought of this. The Netherworld mirror, which he had once regarded as a treasure, would now become a pair of eyes that monitored him. At this moment, Netherworld was somewhere with the crystal ball. Not long after, the crystal ball was taken out of the brocade box. Through the crystal ball, the mirror began to display the surrounding environment. It looked like a laboratory filled with countless high-tech equipment. Yu Ming was sitting in front of a screen, his face full of respect and humility. After a while, the screen flickered with electric light. Suddenly, two people wearing black robes appeared, covering their entire bodies. From the body shape, Yiqing Luo could tell that it was a man and a woman. When those two people appeared, the man she was using as a cushion suddenly stiffened. Yiqing Luo keenly sensed the change in Dmo Xian's emotions and turned her head to look at the man's dignified expression. Her lips curled into a sweet smile. Why? Do you know him? Dmo Xian was silent for a moment, his thin lips moved slightly. I've met him once, a very strong opponent. Yiqing Luo's eyes widened in curiosity. For Dmo Xian to call it powerful. How terrifying would that be? No wonder Dmo Xian's expression was so grave. Did the Netherworld listen to those people's orders? He. Yu Ming, what's wrong with you? Where's the Netherworld mirror? The woman's sinister laughter was extremely ear-piercing. Yu Ming's expression changed slightly. That's not important. Has the revered returned? An icy cold voice was heard from the screen. Pass the tracking search bomb to me. Star. Chapter 1880. Yu Ming narrowed his eyes. Based on what? Based on the fact that you're merely an abandoned trash. Yu Han sneered coldly. Abandoned, these three words, pierced Yu Ming's heart. His expression instantly turned as cold as ice, as though it was covered with thousands of frost. Revered one ordered me to this plane to handle matters. It's not the so-called abandonment, I'm the same as you. His voice, word by word, was extremely cold. Between his brows, was tainted with an absolute cold storm. His scarlet-red eyes seemed to be dyed with blood. This look made Yu Han and Yu Nu couldn't help but feel a chill down their spines. On the screen, the two men's sinister eyes revealed traces of fear. Perhaps it was the fear in Yu Nu's eyes, which made Yu Ming regain his senses. He restrained the expression in his eyes. As his expression returned to normal, I want to personally hand over the tracking search bomb to Revered One. Yu Ming. Don't be so shameless. Yu Han berated in a cold voice. Because of the fear she had towards Yu Ming earlier, she felt a little ashamed. Do you really think that Revered One sent you to that broken plane, is to help Revered One to handle matters? Yu Han rushed in front of the screen. Under the black robe, half of her treacherous and eerie face was revealed. Let me tell you, you've been exiled. Because you're a monster, a different species. Monster, different species. Yu Ming's body stiffened slightly. He stood in front of the screen, his entire body was covered in flames, as though it had swept up a bloody storm. Yu Ming, don't listen to Yu Han's nonsense. Yu Nu hurriedly spoke, her voice was gentle. He's jealous of you, for being able to do tasks in such an interesting plane. As for the tracking bomb, I'll go inform Revered One, wait for me for now. The lady's delicate voice was like a warm breeze, brushing past Yu Ming's heart. No matter how much anger he had, at this moment, it all disappeared. He gazed deeply at the lady on the screen, as he nodded. Yu Han, who was standing by the side, seemed to want to say something, but her arm was grabbed tightly by Yu Nu. The both of them disappeared in front of the screen. On the other side, Yiqing Luo stared at the image on the mirror, as she clicked her tongue. That's the lady that Yu Ming likes. I don't know what she looks like, but I think Yu Ming's love should be one-sided. Everyone could see that. That woman and the other man on the screen, their relationship, was definitely beyond that of friends. Hades was probably the only one who hadn't figured it out. Or could it be that he had already seen through her, but she was just pretending to be dumb to give herself space to fantasize? Yiqing Luo changed her position in Dmo Xian's arms as she kept some profound energy, but, how their feelings are, has nothing to do with us. She raised her head and from this angle, she looked at Dmo Xian's face. Ah Xian, who do you think those two people and the venerable one they mentioned are? She reached out and stroked his cheek with her slender fingers. Dmo Xian's eyes were tranquil, his expression was no longer as solemn as before, but was indifferent, as though it was of no importance. I don't know. These two people are from the upper realm. The venerable that they are talking about should also be from the upper realm. His light and indifferent tone revealed that Dmo Xian had no interest in those few people. Yiqing Luo brushed the black hair on his shoulder, as she agreed, Amen, to be able to make you feel that they are strong opponents, they are definitely not from Nirvana realm. Dmo Xian stretched out his hand, as he grabbed her little hand, no matter what their identity is, as long as their motive is you, even if they are from the upper realm, I will still go against the heavens for you. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with smiles, as her arms circled around his neck. Star. Chapter 1881. I'm just a mortal. They are from the upper realm, how could their target be me? Yiqing Luo raised her brows. From what I see, their target should be the Yi family's ancestors' belongings, for example. The Azure Dew bracelet. She stretched out her hand and waved it in front of Dmo Xian. The cherry blossom pattern around the wrist of the fair lotus root was extremely eye-catching. Dmo Xian's fingers caressed the lifelike pattern. It's also possible. Old Man Tsang has already concealed all the presence of the Azure Dew bracelet. No matter how that so-called venerable searches, he will not detect that the Azure Dew bracelet is on me. Yiqing Luo stretched her waist. Just as she wanted to change her position and lie in his arms. The Ming mirror suddenly flashed. It reminded her that there was movement in the crystal ball. Yiqing Luo immediately injected her profound energy and locked onto the crystal ball. At this moment, Yu Ming had already placed the crystal ball on the screen. But on the other side of the screen, there was no sign of that so-called venerable. It was still the same man and woman. The venerable wants us to ask you, have you tracked the thing that the venerable needs? Yu Ming's evil voice rang from the screen. Yu Ming stared at Yu Nu for a moment, his finger touched the search flick. The search flick suddenly clasped tightly on the screen. Immediately, a set of precise electronic data appeared on the screen. After a while, a robotic voice came from the screen. The tracking result shows that there is no reliable information found. Immediately, the people on both sides of the screen were stunned. Immediately, 4 pairs of eyes met, the expressions on their faces were all astonished. No reliable information found? Does it mean nothing was found? Yu Nu's voice revealed some fear. Yu Ming's fingers quickly swiped on the precise data, his brows knitted tightly. Impossible. As long as that thing is in the Yi family's graveyard, it will definitely be found. Just as his voice fell, his sliding fingers paused. Don't tell me. That thing is not in the Yi family's graveyard? Other than the Yi family's ancestors' grave, where else can that thing be placed? Yuling snorted coldly. I think, you obviously want to take that thing for yourself, to betray the venerable. Childish. Yu Ming glanced at Yu Han with disdain. He didn't even bother to explain to her. Yu Han flew into a rage. Just as he was about to speak, Yu Nu had already pressed down his raised hand. After that, he looked at Yu Ming and said solemnly, Yu Ming, you can't joke about this. Investigate this thoroughly. The tracking results show that there is nothing in the target range. The mechanical voice sounded again from the screen. Yu Ming's finger slid down from the screen. You know my character, Yu Nu. I don't joke around. Ghost Girl's eyes turned cold as she looked at Yuhan beside her. She seemed to be hesitating about something. After a while, she said, "I will tell the Venerable One the truth about this." As he spoke, he cut off the connection with the screen. Bang! The crystal ball exploded on the screen. It didn't matter if the search missile could find the target or not. After the command was given, they would self-detonate. Yu Ming's body swayed slightly and he fell heavily to the ground. His face was also filled with disbelief and astonishment. On the other side, in the villa, the image on the mirror suddenly turned black following the explosion of the crystal ball. Yiqing Luo kept the mirror and looked at Dmo Xian with her charming eyes. "Ah Xian, what do you think they are looking for?" Now it could basically be concluded. The target of the search bomb wasn't the Azure Dew bracelet. Otherwise, the search bomb would have searched for her at the first instance. Star. Chapter 1882. Dmo Xian lowered his eyes and gazed at the beautiful face of the young lady in his arms. His fingers caressed her face lightly, something related to your Yi family. Yiqing Luo raised her brows. It is said that the ancestors of the Yi family owned many good things and any one of them made those old men excited. But I have no interest in those things. In other words, she couldn't figure out what Netherworld was searching for in the graveyard. It doesn't matter what it is. Dmo Xian carried her up. You've already gotten the Azure Aqua threads. That bunch of people no longer have the chance to enter the ancestral tomb. Yiqing Luo took the opportunity to raise her hand and put it around his neck, hanging in his arms. That's true, no matter what they want from my Yi family, they won't have this chance. So, don't let those unimportant things occupy your heart. Dmo Xian carried her all the way to the spacious French window. As far as the eye could see, the sky was filled with stars, and the scenery was pleasant. He put her down. From behind, he wrapped his arms around Yiqing Luo's slender waist. The two of them looked out of the French windows, at the bustling scene of this era. Dmo Xian's head rested on her shoulder. The atmosphere between the two of them was comfortable and sweet. Now, you can only think of me in your heart. The man's low and hoarse voice sounded sentimental. She loved the sound of his voice. In the Nirvana realm, both of them had too many things to settle and do. There weren't many opportunities for them to be alone. This was a rare opportunity for them to be alone, so they treasured it. There was no imperial palace, no devil class, no the world group etc. to interfere. Only the two of them quietly snuggled up to each other. Does Ah Xian like this plane? Yiqing Luo's little hand played with those slender fingers that were placed across her waist. Dmo Xian's thin lips curled up slightly as his scorching breath sprayed onto her skin. I like it. His voice was as deep as fine wine. It is this magical place that nurtured such an outstanding little Luoer. I like it here, like the place where little Luoer grew up. Yiqing Luo's heart seemed to be encircled by a warm current, and also seemed to be soaked in sweet honey. She turned around and lifted her eyes to look at Dmo Xian's face. A sweet smile bloomed on her lips. This man was getting better and better at flirting with her. As for her, he would always flirt with her until she was covered in pink bubbles. She was unable to resist his seduction. She was unable to resist his warmth. The young girl's cheeks blushed as she glanced around with her enchanting eyes. No matter how one looked at it, it was extremely alluring. Dmo Xian's gaze darkened as a trace of suppressed emotion surfaced. His slender fingers grasped her chin and he lowered his head to kiss her lips. Yes, he liked this plane. This plane had made his little Luoer strong, stubborn, and unyielding. It also allowed his little Luoer to learn all the ways of survival. If they were in the Nirvana realm, it was impossible to give birth to such a dazzling woman. He should thank that force which brought Yiqing Luo to Nirvana realm. It was because of this energy that brought Yiqing Luo to the Nirvana realm. Only then would he be able to meet his destined person. The next day, Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian released the array eye of the enchantment. The face, which was covered in black fog in the devouring array eye, revealed an extremely aggrieved expression. Yiqing Luo pretended not to see it as she turned her head to look at the silent Yuming, who was sitting on the sofa. Have you decided to follow us back to the Nirvana realm? Ever since Yuming returned yesterday, he had been sitting on the sofa in a daze. Chapter 1883. It could be seen that yesterday's incident had dealt a huge blow to him. Not knowing if it was because the search bomb didn't manage to find what he wanted to search for, which caused him to suffer a huge blow. Or was it when he conversed with the cold Ghost Maiden's attitude towards him, which made him suffer a huge blow? Yiqing Luo only knew. The current Yuming was shrouded in a layer of low pressure. Hearing Yiqing Luo's question, Yuming calmly raised his eyelids. We're going to the battle plane now. Yiqing Luo looked at the greenish-black color under Yuming's eyes as she faintly sighed. If we can decode the God Array, I will abide by my promise and bring you back to Nirvana realm. Yes. It was another calm word. Leaving this word, Yuming lowered his head once again. Apparently, he had no intention to chat with Yiqing Luo any further. Yiqing Luo's heart was on the two people in the battle plane. She wondered if these 2 days of being alone together, did it improve the relationship between those two people? Thinking of this, Yiqing Luo pulled Dmo Xian along as they followed the devouring array eye and left the villa. Battle plane. Inside the defensive barrier, Yan Xiaoyi leaned into Qiao Jin's arms as that exquisite face appeared slightly pale. Qiao Jin looked at the 6 empty water bags by the side as his brows creased slightly. This protective shield had indeed protected them from the attacks of those monsters for the past 2 days. But if they continued to hide in the defensive barrier, even if they weren't killed by the monsters, they would starve to death and die of thirst in the defensive barrier. They should be glad that Yiqing Luo had always emphasized that no matter where they were, their interspatial pockets must be filled with at least 5 bags of water and sufficient rations for 5 days. It was to prevent any accidents from happening. He and Yan Xiaoyi only had a total of 10 bags of water. Now the water and rations on them could at most sustain them for another 2 days. Moreover, Yan Xiaoyi's body was apparently a little strange. But no matter how he questioned, Yan Xiaoyi didn't relent. Instead, every single time, she would use extremely hot and bold courtship words to change the topic. Slut Jean. The lady in his arms suddenly opened her mouth softly. Qiao Jin immediately lowered his eyes as he looked at her anxiously. Are you hungry? Eat some dry rations first. When we leave this place, I'll take you to eat something delicious. Yan Xiaoyi shook her head. Her slightly pale and exquisite face no longer had its usual loveliness. Instead, it had a lovely and moving look that made one feel pity for her. She wrapped her arms around his waist. I'm not hungry. I just want to talk to you. Okay, go ahead. Qiao Jin tightened his grip around her waist, his eyes filled with love. He couldn't restrain himself from caressing her pale face. The coldness caused his fingertips to tremble. Yan Xiaoyi leaned on his chest and the corners of her mouth raised into a beautiful arc. Slut Jean, it's already been 2 days. Do you think we can really get out? Yes, definitely. Qiao Jin said without hesitation. I said it before, we will all leave this place alive. But, I feel that I can't hold on much longer. Yan Xiaoyi laughed softly. What nonsense are you spouting? Qiao Jin's tone sank as he reprimanded in a low voice, don't say such depressing words. We can all get out of here alive. They will be here very soon. As long as they come. Mentioning they, Qiao Jin's expression turned slightly gloomy. Yan Xiaoyi thought that Qiao Jin was talking about Yiqing Luo and the rest. She rubbed her little face against his chest and raised her head. Her spirited and beautiful eyes stared deeply into his face. Slut Jean, in order to give me a belief that will keep me going, why don't you tell me your answer now, okay? Star. Chapter 1884. The woman's soft voice carried a hint of coquettishness. Like a feather, it tickled Xiao Jin's heart bit by bit. The arms around the woman's waist tightened slightly. Xiao Jin hid the deep meaning in his eyes, avoided Yan Xiaoyi's hopeful gaze, and said calmly, "When we leave here alive, I will tell you my answer." Yan Xiaoyi's delicate face revealed a look of displeasure. She pouted her slightly pale lips and glared at him angrily. "You only know how to fool me with these words. I am a woman, and I have already boldly expressed my feelings to you. You are a man, and you are still bashful, and you only know how to drag me." As she spoke, she let out a soft snort and slammed her head into his chest. Xiao Jin's warm and thick palm immediately touched her forehead. He sighed heavily, "Don't hurt yourself. Anyway, you won't feel heartache." Yan Xiaoyi let out another "Humph." When she buried her head in his arms, Yan Xiaoyi's bright and beautiful eyes gradually lost their light. There was an unconcealable pain in her eyes. Yan Xiaoyi understood Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin's not answering at this time, and it happened to answer Yan Xiaoyi. Even if they really got out alive, Xiao Jin's answer would only be, not liking her. Xiao Jin didn't like her. He didn't answer just to let her have a glimmer of hope, so that she could hold on and live. Yan Xiaoyi closed her eyes slightly, and held back the tears that were about to fall from her eyes. He would never know. Even if they left this damn place full of monsters alive, how would she get along with Xiao Jin in the days to come? Love but not get it. She had to pretend to let it go and call him brother. Living like this was the true cruelty of it all. Xiao Jin tightened his arms, and his eyes stared deeply at the woman in his arms. There was a complicated storm in his eyes. He could feel the low pressure of the woman in his arms. He wanted to comfort her. But he knew that he was already qualified. Yan Xiaoyi liked him. He was very happy and excited. The happiest thing in the world was that the woman he loved deeply also loved him. But, at the moment when the golden eyes were exposed, he and Yan Xiaoyi had completely, no longer had any possibility. Yan Xiaoyi's current liking for him might just be liking. This kind of love would only happen a few years after he left. It would also dissipate with the passage of time. He couldn't because of his love for Yan Xiaoyi. It would delay Yan Xiaoyi's future. The pain now was for a better future for Xiaoyi. Xiao Jin suppressed his desire to comfort Yan Xiaoyi. His heart was filled with feelings for Yan Xiaoyi as he quietly hugged her just like that. The only thing he could do now was to hug her before he left. At this moment, the monsters that were fighting outside suddenly went berserk. The two people behind the protective shield also opened their eyes due to the monsters' rampage. The thousands of wild monsters in the empty space were like a tide of beasts, surging in a single direction. This scene shocked the two people sitting inside the barrier. What's going on? Yan Xiaoyi looked at those monsters in shock. The direction they were rushing towards was densely packed, and she really couldn't see where they were rushing towards. Xiao Jin shook his head, his expression solemn. Those thousands of wild beasts were rushing towards a certain direction. Not long after, suddenly, a dazzling golden light spread across the entire void. Wherever the golden light went, the beasts let out sharp and painful howls. In an instant, blood and flesh splattered. Star. Chapter 1885. Xiao Jin's expression changed. His eyes stared intently at that golden light as his expression slowly turned cold. Yan Xiaoyi stuck her head out from his arms. Slut Jin, what is that? This golden light was extremely familiar. Just 2 days ago, she had seen this powerful force on Xiao Jin's body. The monsters that were killed by this golden light were like a pile of dead meat, unable to regenerate. In the huge battle plain. Just at this moment, it turned into a dead silence. Yan Xiaoyi stared at the sky full of blood and flesh, as it splattered downwards, as her expression turned even paler. Even if she was used to killing, seeing this kind of blood and flesh rain, she would feel so disgusted that she couldn't bear it. But more than that, she was filled with shock. She had fought with these monsters before. Naturally, she knew how strong these monsters' life force was. Even if she borrowed the black sickle blade's energy to battle, she wasn't able to annihilate 10 monsters at one go. But this golden light. It was able to annihilate thousands and thousands of monsters in an instant. And made them unable to regenerate. How heaven-defying was this, how strong was this energy? Yan Xiaoyi was certain that this was absolutely not the energy released by Yi Qing Luo. Her little hand nervously grabbed Xiao Jin's clothes, as her eyes stared at the direction where the golden light was released. After some time, she didn't get any response from Xiao Jin. Yan Xiaoyi's heart trembled slightly as she raised her eyes and looked at the man beside her. She saw Xiao Jin steely green and gloomy, as his eyes stared coldly in front. Perhaps the surrounding golden light was too dazzling. Yan Xiaoyi in Xiao Jin's eyes, faintly sparkled with a sliver of golden light. On a closer look, it was already pitch black. Slut Jin. Yan Xiaoyi gently tugged Xiao Jin's sleeve. Xiao Jin then reacted, as the expression on his face suddenly turned gentler. No matter, the people who saved us are here. But his expression wasn't the least bit joyful. Yan Xiaoyi seemed to have realized something as she gripped his sleeve tightly. Who are they? Xiao Jin didn't reply. His gaze had already regained its previous calmness, as his pitch-black eyes were fixated on the front. But after a moment, the golden light which covered the entire empty space slowly dispersed. Everything in the surroundings returned to its previous darkness. Yan Xiaoyi only felt the hairs on her body stand up, her body tensed up, and an indescribable fear surged up her heart. She couldn't explain where this feeling came from. He only knew that the air pressure around him was gradually decreasing. The air gradually became cold. Even breathing was difficult. Yan Xiaoyi instinctively leaned into Xiao Jin's embrace. At the same time, Yan Xiaoyi saw, from afar, 3 figures were approaching at high speed. That figure was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already standing outside the barrier. There were 2 men and 1 woman. The man was about 23 or 24 years old, while the woman was about 17 or 18 years old. All of them were handsome and beautiful. What attracted Yan Xiaoyi's attention the most was the eyes of these 3 people. One of their pupils was golden, while the other was black. The moment the 3 of them approached, even through the barrier, Yan Xiaoyi could feel the cold killing intent from their bodies. "You guys are finally here," Xiao Jin said calmly as he looked at the 3 of them. The woman standing in the middle furrowed her brows, unable to conceal the disdain in her eyes. "Why? Doesn't it mean that you can survive without relying on the power of your family? How long has it been, and you can't hold on anymore?" She sneered and looked around. "This kind of lousy plane can also make you so miserable. 5th brother, we haven't seen each other for so many years, you've become more and more useless. Star. Chapter 1886. 5th brother. Yan Xiaoyi was startled when she heard the way the lady addressed Xiao Jin. These people were Xiao Jin's relatives. But, looking at the atmosphere between them, there was no trace of kinship at all. Yan Xiaoyi thought of her own situation in the Yan family. Could it be that Xiao Jin did not get along well with his relatives? So, for so many years, she had never seen Xiao Jin's relatives come to the Heavenly Academy and had never heard Xiao Jin mention about his family and relatives. "Feng Yan." A man behind her reprimanded in a low voice. The lady seemed to be startled and immediately kept quiet. That man's face darkened as he stared at Xiao Jin. Come out quickly. Xiao Jin's expression was still calm as his voice revealed some coldness. I can't get out. You. The man's anger rose and his eyes were filled with anger. Even such a place can trap you. Our Huangfu family's face has been thrown away by you. The man's words made Xiao Jin's eyes reveal a trace of ridicule. Since you feel that I'm a disgrace, why did you specially rush over? The man's face was gloomy as he gritted his teeth and suppressed his anger. You think I wanted to come? I feel disgusted just by looking at you. Big brother. The slightly elegant man at the side frowned and said, we specially rushed over to Nirvana realm not to argue with fifth brother. The man who was addressed as Big Brother was the eldest young master of Huangfu family, Huangfu Dongyu. And the slightly elegant man was Huangfu family's third young master, Huangfu Qifei. The only woman was Huangfu family's fourth young miss, Huangfu Fengyan. Huangfu Dongyu snorted coldly as he looked at Xiao Jin with a gaze full of disgust. If it wasn't for the fact that you used Huangfu family's power and was found out by the 5 imperial elders, who specially ordered us to bring you back to Huangfu family, do you think I would rush over? Big brother, why bother talking to him with all this nonsense? Huangfu Fengyan's pair of demonic eyes glanced at Xiao Jin indifferently. That time when you left Huangfu family, you were so decisive and said that you would never inherit Huangfu family. Now, you still can't get rid of the temptation of power and want to return to Huangfu family and occupy everything of Huangfu family. At this point, she sneered disdainfully, in the end, you're just relying on the fact that you're the heir recognized by ancestor Huangfu to act recklessly. She paused for a moment. Her eyes, one gold and one black, stared fixedly at the youth inside the protective shield. Her red lips curled into a mocking smile. The son of AB*TCH is the son of AB*TCH. Even if you're the heir, it doesn't change the fact that you're the son of AB*TCH. You're AB*TCH to the core. Word by word, the harsh and sharp words pierced into Xiao Jin's heart. Xiao Jin's pupils constricted continuously. His calm face could no longer be restrained and became livid and gloomy. It seemed like in the next instant, he would break through the protective barrier and tear apart Huangfu Fengyan's mouth. Yan Xiaoyi, who was nestled in his embrace, knew very well why Xiao Jin's mood had changed so much. Because Huangfu Fengyan had said the words, "slut's son." She could feel the man's body trembling. Yan Xiaoyi's heart instantly ached. She raised her pale face and glared at Huangfu Fengyan, saying sternly, as a bystander, I instead feel that you're the B*TCH. Only the son of AB*TCH would raise AB*TCH like you who keeps on being AB*TCH. Yan Xiaoyi's voice rang out. Huangfu Fengyan's exquisite face instantly darkened as her sharp gaze glanced at Yan Xiaoyi. Xiao Jin immediately tightened his arms and pulled Yan Xiaoyi behind him, blocking in front of her. Chapter 1887. Lowly woman? Heh, as if you're not a woman. Yan Xiaoyi could not bear to see Huangfu Fengyan provoking Xiao Jin's face. She laughed coldly and continued, right, how can a person like you, whose mouth is filled with filthy thoughts, be a woman? Huangfu Fengyan had never suffered such insults before. Her expression instantly darkened and turned malevolent. She raised her hand and a golden light flashed past her palm. With a bang, she struck a palm towards the direction of the barrier, completely disregarding it. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi was hiding behind Xiao Jin. If this palm landed, the one heavily injured would definitely be Xiao Jin. Slut Jin! Yan Xiaoyi cried out in panic, hugging his waist with both hands, wanting to forcefully change direction with him. But her body was pressed to the ground by Xiao Jin's strength, unable to move. Boom boom boom. That golden light smashed onto the barrier. The golden light flickered, emitting a deafening explosion. However, in the next instant, that golden light was reflected back. Huangfu Fengyan simply did not expect that this barrier had the ability to reflect. She was unable to react for a moment. Fortunately, Huangfu Dongyu reached out to pull Huangfu Fengyan in time. Only then did he barely prevent the tragedy of Huangfu Fengyan being injured by his own palm wind. But Huangfu Fengyan's shoulder was still grazed by the golden light, and fresh red blood seeped out. The expression on her face instantly turned ashen. Her eyes shot out an extremely sharp cold light as she glared fiercely at the two people behind the barrier. Lowly woman! You dare to injure me? Huangfu Fengyan gritted her teeth, her expression savage. Before Yan Xiaoyi could speak, she was already blocked by Qiao Jin behind her. Qiao Jin's expression was cold. Huangfu Fengyan, watch your mouth. Huangfu Fengyan's hand that was covering the wound on her shoulder paused. Hearing his words, she could not help but laugh. Looks like fifth brother cares quite a lot about this lowly woman, to be so protective of her. Why? This is the woman you fancy? No. Qiao Jin's voice was piercingly cold. She's my classmate. Huangfu Fengyan swept a nasty look at Yan Xiaoyi. Is that so? The way she looks at you is filled with love. That doesn't mean I like her. Qiao Jin's tone became heavier, as if he was extremely impatient. You didn't come here to denounce me for liking that woman, did you? Indeed not. Huangfu Fengyan looked at the lady behind Qiao Jin. The bright light in her eyes suddenly dimmed after Qiao Jin's words, and her mood became indescribably happy. Even the wound on his shoulder didn't seem to hurt anymore. What she loved the most in her life was to see lovers who couldn't be together in the end. Just like now. When Yan Xiaoyi heard Qiao Jin's words, her face turned paler by several degrees. She was just his classmate. She loved him, but it didn't mean that he would love her back. Although from the start, she already knew that Qiao Jin would give her such an answer. But when he really heard the answer, her heart was still aching uncontrollably. It was her who had sunk into the beautiful dream of the past 2 days. She thought that Qiao Jin actually loved her too. It was just that, he was so full of himself that he would eventually wake up from his dream. She pursed her red lips and suddenly felt that her actions just now were extremely ridiculous. She was just his classmate. What right did she have to reprimand his loved ones? Yan Xiaoyi lowered her eyes. Her gaze seemed to have lost all its luster and she didn't speak again. Huangfu Dongyu's face darkened and he had already lost his patience. Enough. Don't waste time, we can't stay in the lower realm for too long. Star. Chapter 1888. Huangfu Qifei looked at Qiao Jin and frowned. Qiao Jin, come out, follow us back to the Huangfu family to accept punishment. Qiao Jin's expression once again regained its previous calmness. He curled his thin lips in a smile that wasn't a smile, smiling somewhat sinisterly. You saw it too, we can't get out of this thing, you guys can't enter either. Huangfu Trio's expression instantly changed. They were naturally clear of Huangfu Fengyan's ability. Huangfu Fengyan's palm just now used at least 50% of her profound strength. It was all reflected back by this protective barrier. Huangfu Fengyan narrowed her eyes, staring at the protective barrier and said in a cold voice, you don't want to return to the Huangfu family, so you intentionally shut yourself in here? Seemingly finding an excuse. Huangfu Qifei's elegant and handsome face tightly furrowed, echoing Huangfu Fengyan's words, fifth brother, if you really don't wish to return to the Huangfu family, then you should fulfill your promise back then. Since you've already used the Huangfu family's strength, then no matter how you hide now, you must return to the Huangfu family. Our fifth brother completely looks down on the Huangfu family. Huangfu Dongyu said eccentrically, since that's the case, we'll now, before he finished speaking. Suddenly, within the battle plane, a vast and terrifying energy surged over like a torrential flood. As if the energy that was imprisoned and suppressed was suddenly released. That powerful energy caused everyone present to reveal a horrified expression. Can't come out? This old man wants to see how this thing can't come out, can't enter. A deep voice, vigorous and powerful. Immediately after, a figure, like a ghost, appeared in front of the protective barrier. Yan Xiaoyi didn't even have time to see that person's appearance clearly. Then she heard an earth-shattering sound. Rumble, her body, was tightly hugged by Qiao Jin. Her head was forcefully pressed into Qiao Jin's embrace. Yan Xiaoyi was just about to struggle when she suddenly felt something heavily smashing down on her. Qiao Jin's breathing, from time to time, became heavier by the side of her ear. She hurriedly opened her eyes, raising her beautiful eyes. Only to see that the protective barrier around the two of them had unknowingly shattered. It was also unknown what material the fragments of the protective barrier were made of. The fragments were sharp and heavy. Crashing onto Qiao Jin's body, Yan Xiaoyi could even hear the sound of the heavy object crashing onto flesh. Slut Jin. Yan Xiaoyi's voice trembled as she tried to push Qiao Jin away. But how could her strength compare to Qiao Jin? Elder Jin Huang. The respectful voices of Huang Fu and the other two rang out. The fragments of the protective shield had already fallen to the ground. Qiao Jin Kai let go of Yan Xiaoyi, turned around, and looked in the direction of the voice. He cupped his fists and bowed in that direction. Elder Jin. Yan Xiaoyi stood behind Qiao Jin. She could clearly see an old man dressed in a golden robe with a golden dragon embroidered on his waist. He looked extremely respectable. Emperor Jin slowly turned around. He was about 56 or 57 years old and looked very energetic. His eyes were filled with a dignified light. Just by staring at Qiao Jin quietly, it gave people a tremendous pressure. "It's really not easy to find you," the Metal Emperor said coldly. He did not show any anger. Qiao Jin looked at the Metal Emperor calmly, the corners of his lips twitching with a faint smile. "Because I don't want to be discovered by you." The Metal Emperor swept his gaze around, finally fixing his gaze on Yan Xiaoyi, who was behind Qiao Jin. His sharp eyes lit up. "For a woman, you are willing to risk being discovered by us and use the power of the Huangfu family to protect her?" Star. Chapter 1889. Qiao Jin pursed his lips and pretended not to care. "It has nothing to do with her. I just want to live." Elder Jin smiled meaningfully. He looked at Qiao Jin as if he was looking at a chess piece in his hands. "You are the heir of the Huangfu family. You must return with me." Qiao Jin's calm expression changed. A hint of resistance flashed in his eyes. Elder Jin's eyes glimmered as he took in the expression on Qiao Jin's face. He suddenly grinned, his smile somewhat cruel. "Qiao Jin, as the chosen successor of the Huangfu family, you should settle down after running away for so many years. Even if you aren't willing to become the successor, but, you still have to think of your pitiful mother. If you insist on running away from the Huangfu family and disturb ancestor Huangfu, you should be very clear on how the Huangfu family will treat your pitiful mother." He mentioned his mother. Qiao Jin's expression turned livid. His dark eyes flashed with an extremely cold light, and his pupils faintly flashed with gold light. "Your poor mother can survive until now only because of your identity as the heir. But, if you insist on resisting the identity of the heir, you will no longer have the ability to protect your poor mother." Elder Jin chuckled. His voice was bone-chilling. Every word was like a knife stabbing into Qiao Jin's heart. His meaning was clear. After being willful for so long, it was time to settle down. If Qiao Jin continued to be willful and run away from the Huangfu family, they would target Qiao Jin's mother. His mother was Qiao Jin's sore spot. Elder Jin was right. He did not want to be the heir. He wanted to run away from the Huangfu family. But he had to worry about his mother. He could run away easily and willfully because he knew that the Huangfu family valued the heir very much. No matter what his identity was. As long as he was still the heir, the Huangfu family had to take good care of his mother, who gave birth to the heir that was valued by their ancestor. However, it was enough for him to escape from his family once. If there was a second time. Even if he was the heir, the Huangfu family would not allow him to be willful. Qiao Jin clenched his fists. The golden light in his eyes grew brighter. The dazzling golden eyes caused the expressions of the 4 Huangfu clan members to turn even uglier. This was especially so for Huangfu and the other 2. Their eyes were filled with unconcealable jealousy. They were jealous that Qiao Jin had such a pair of pure golden eyes. He was jealous that Qiao Jin could become the successor of the Huangfu clan. Qiao Jin calmed down. Emperor Jin stroked his beard in satisfaction. The glint in his eyes was obvious. Pausing, his gaze looked towards Yan Xiaoyi, who was behind Qiao Jin. It's rare that you like a young lady. This old man will make the decision and allow this young lady to follow you back to the Huangfu family. This will also prevent you from fleeing the Huangfu family because you can't see her. No need. This time, Qiao Jin answered extremely quickly. He stood in front of Yan Xiaoyi. His tall and broad body blocked Yan Xiaoyi's figure completely behind him. She's just my classmate. There's no need to drag an unimportant person into our Huangfu family. Qiao Jin's face darkened as he gave Elder Jin a warning look. His golden eyes shone with a cold light. As if the Golden Emperor dared to implicate Yan Xiaoyi. It was as though he was about to explode. That threatening look made the Golden Emperor's lips curl into a meaningful smile. The more nervous Qiao Jin was, the more he showed that he cared about this. Nirvana Realm young lady. Star. Chapter 1890. Elder Jin knew what was going on. But in front of Qiao Jin, he naturally wouldn't show it. He followed Qiao Jin's intentions and stroked his white beard. Since that's the case, then leave this unrelated lady here. Successor young master, follow us back obediently. Qiao Jin looked at Elder Jin's scheming eyes and his tightly pursed lips turned slightly pale. After a while, he lifted his feet and moved forward. Suddenly, a hand tugged at his sleeve from behind. Qiao Jin stopped in his tracks and turned back to look at her. Meeting a pair of reddened eyes. He felt a sharp pain in his heart. As if he knew what Yan Xiaoyi was thinking, he anxiously tried to break free from her tugging. However, Yan Xiaoyi threw herself into his arms. She wrapped her arms tightly around his firm waist and abdomen. Her beautiful red eyes stared at Qiao Jin without blinking. Don't think of leaving me behind. Qiao Jin, no matter if you want to return to the devil class with me or go to whatever Huangfu family, don't think of leaving me behind. Yan Xiaoyi. He was furious and forcefully pulled Yan Xiaoyi out of his arms. Don't mess around, this is not the time for you to be willful. Yan Xiaoyi stubbornly bit her lips. I'm not messing around. I've said it before, I like you, I like you. No matter if you like me or not, I'll follow you wherever you go. She had already clearly told Qiao Jin her feelings for him. She had no intention of backing down because of Qiao Jin's unlove. Because she loved Qiao Jin. She believed that as long as she used her sincerity to accompany Qiao Jin, one day, Qiao Jin would understand her feelings. If Qiao Jin left with these Huangfu family people, she would never have the chance to meet Qiao Jin again. No matter what, she didn't want to leave Qiao Jin. The lady's crisp and clear voice was filled with sincerity. Qiao Jin's body suddenly froze. His eyes glimmered as they met the lady's gaze. Such a bold and unpretentious confession in courtship made Qiao Jin's heart bloom like flowers in spring, blooming with a riot of colors. He wanted to hug Yan Xiaoyi so much. He wanted to pour out all his feelings for her, to let her understand. However, Emperor Jin's cold, smiling voice rang in his ears. Young master successor, since this young lady loves you so much, why do you have to hurt her heart? It won't be a problem for our Huangfu clan to raise one more girl. He laughed cruelly, seemingly thinking for Qiao Jin's sake. His voice brought Qiao Jin back to his senses under the ecstasy of Yan Xiaoyi's confession. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and the impulse to embrace Yan Xiaoyi into his arms. Xiao Chen's face was ice-cold as he looked at Emperor Jin coldly. He exuded a strong magnetism that was extremely oppressive. Emperor Jin, you are one of the Huangfu clan's imperial elders. Your every word and action represents the Huangfu clan's identity and quality. Is this the quality of the Huangfu clan to casually insult young ladies' reputation? He lifted his head slightly. His ordinary-looking face exuded a noble and arrogant aura. The smile on Emperor Jin's face darkened. He seemed to be angry that Qiao Jin actually dared to have such a dark expression on his face. However, no matter how displeased he was, Emperor Jin still lowered his head and said word by word, young master successor is right. I really shouldn't have insulted young lady's reputation. Qiao Jin brushed away the hand that was hugging his arm and glanced at Yan Xiaoyi coldly. Yan Xiaoyi, you are a woman. Can you be a little more reserved? You've only gone through life and death with me for less than 2 days and it has developed to the extent that you want to depend on me for the rest of your life? How worried are you about getting married? Star. Chapter 1891. Xiao Jin's lips twitched in disdain. Just because you like me, I have to let you stay by my side? Yan Xiaoyi, can you be more shameless? Can you be more reserved? His sharp voice pierced Yan Xiaoyi's eardrums like a sharp knife. Yan Xiaoyi's face turned pale instantly. Her eyes widened in shock as she looked at Qiao Jin in disbelief. She could not believe that these words came from Qiao Jin's mouth. He said she was shameless? She was not reserved? He hated her that much. Was he so unwilling to let her stay by his side? Yan Xiaoyi's hand was forcefully pushed away by Qiao Jin. She staggered back a few steps, almost losing her balance. Qiao Jin had already concealed his expression and walked towards Elder Jin expressionlessly. Elder Jin and the 3 Huangfu family members glanced in Yan Xiaoyi's direction. Then, they walked towards Qiao Jin. Elder Jin stretched out his hand, wanting to grab Qiao Jin's arm and take him away. Old man, how dare you touch my brother? His clear voice seemed to be covered in layers of frost. Then, a ray of dark light, as fast as lightning, exploded towards them. A vast amount of energy released a shocking power. Elder Jin sensed the surging energy and quickly retreated a few steps. Bang! A deafening sound rang out. The surroundings seemed to be cracked, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. At the place where Elder Jin had been standing just now, a beam of energy suddenly exploded. Elder Jin's face darkened. He could not help but be shocked. There was actually such a powerful force in the lower realm? How was this possible? If this force had hit him, he was afraid that he would either die or be crippled. Elder Jin's expression suddenly turned serious. He raised his eyes warily and looked in the direction where the force had come from. He had just raised his head when he saw a stunning girl dressed in a fiery long dress. She seemed to be stepping on the void as she walked towards him. Her surroundings were pitch black and the faintly twinkling stars made her look like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Like a fiery red dress, like the clouds of sunset, a gorgeous arc swept past. Under everyone's gaze, the young girl had already walked in front of them. The light in the young girl's charming eyes was cold and filled with an extremely strong murderous intent. She was clearly a beauty that could topple cities. However, it caused one to feel a sense of fear from the bottom of their hearts. This young girl, who was she? Was she a human from the lower realm? No, impossible. How could there be such a beautiful and refined girl in the lower realm? Who are you? You dare to meddle in my Huangfu clan's matters? After Huangfu Fengyan saw the young girl's appearance, jealousy grew in her heart. Fourth young lady! Emperor Jin shouted. His face was gloomy as he glared at Huangfu Fengyan. Couldn't this idiot girl tell that this young lady wasn't someone to be trifled with? Then, Elder Jin immediately bowed and looked at the young girl. Senior, although my fourth Mrs. words are a little harsh, they are the truth. This is a family matter. If Senior is passing by, is there something wrong with your Huangfu family's ears? The young girl interrupted Elder Jin impatiently. Her charming eyes were filled with ridicule and coldness. Family matters? Xiao Jin and Xiao Yi are my, Yi Qing Luo's family. Whatever family matters you want to settle, I'll talk to you. These words really didn't give any face to the Huangfu clan. Elder Jin's respectful attitude turned gloomy. Senior, you, don't call me senior. Yi Qing Luo's eyes were filled with arrogance. I'm only 15 years old. You're already half in the coffin, aren't you ashamed to call me senior? Star. Chapter 1892. As one of the 5 emperors of the Huangfu family, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? Especially when he heard Yi Qing Luo said she was only 15 years old, he felt his face burning hot. He, the dignified Golden Emperor, addressed a 15-year-old young lady as senior. If this matter were to spread out, how could he survive in the Huangfu family? However, in the next instant, the words 15 years old stunned Elder Jin. 15 years old? This young lady was only 15 years old? 15 years old and already had such powerful and boundless power? When did that bunch of trash from the lower realm have such incredible innate talent? Cut the crap, this godforsaken place is going to give birth to a new monster. Yi Qing Luo strolled to the front of Xiao Jin and Yan Xiao Yi as she crossed her arms. I'm their representative, whatever family matters you have, just say it. Qing Luo. Xiao Jin frowned and immediately tugged at Yi Qing Luo. Don't go against the Huangfu family, that's a power that we can't go against. They want me, I'll just go back with them. Yi Qing Luo directly slapped the back of Xiao Jin's hand. She sneered at Xiao Jin as the anger in her eyes was obvious. Shut the F***ck up, I haven't even taught you a lesson and you're already thinking of escaping with that old man? Ha! Ha! Saying that, she winked at Yan Xiaoyi's direction. That wicked smile on her lips was like a blooming poppy, giving off a fatal temptation. Xiao Yi, don't worry, if this fellow dares to hurt your heart, I'll beat him till he can't get up. Yan Xiao Yi was stunned and was about to shake her head to reject. Xiao Jin didn't love her, that was a problem with her charm. Even if she beat Xiao Jin up, that wouldn't change the fact that Xiao Jin didn't love her. But at the next moment, when she met Xiao Jin's surprise, a helpless expression flashed past her eyes. She suddenly seemed to have caught onto something. She nodded her head at Yi Qing Luo. All right, I'll wait for you to teach him a lesson on my behalf. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose as she shifted her gaze back onto Elder Jin. Old man, you've heard it too. I have to bring this lad back home to teach him a lesson, so there's no way for me to let him go, so I've troubled you to make a wasted trip all the way here. You, preposterous. Elder Jin flew into a rage, and he fumed with rage. Who the hell are you? Yi Qing Luo smiled sweetly, the person who snatched him from you. A cold glint flashed across Emperor Jin's golden and black eyes. Impudent. Huangfu Dongyu's face was gloomy, and he assumed the attitude of eldest young Master Huangfu. He furrowed his brows and glared at Xiao Jin. Fifth brother, are these the random friends you made in the lower bound? He snorted coldly, full of disdain. She's shameless and doesn't know how to be reserved. One is arrogant, willful, and has no manners at all. I really don't know what exactly you've done in the lower worlds to embarrass the Huangfu family. Hearing Huangfu Dongyu's reprimand, Yan Xiaoyi's face turned green and red. She bit her lower lip tightly, enduring the shame in her heart. Xiao Jin noticed Yan Xiaoyi's expression. He turned sideways and suddenly stretched out his hand to hold Yan Xiaoyi's little hand. His large, broad palm held her tightly. Yan Xiaoyi raised her head in astonishment, as she tried to retract her hand in a fluster. But Xiao Jin held her even tighter, as he shook his head at her. He indicated to her not to take Huangfu Dongyu's words to heart. Just as the both of them were entangled, the crisp sound of a slap resounded through the silent void. Star. Chapter 1893. How dare you hit me? You're just a lowly human from the lower realm, how dare you hit me? Huangfu Dongyu's raging voice was hoarse and sharp. He covered his face. That handsome and gloomy face had already swollen up. Huangfu Qifei and Huangfu Fengyan's expressions turned extremely ugly. Yiqing Luo actually hit their Huangfu family's eldest young master right in front of them. Wasn't this a blatant slap to their Huangfu family? Jin Huang Lao's expression was extremely ugly. But it wasn't because Yiqing Luo had slapped the Huangfu family's face. But he was astonished because when did Yiqing Luo make a move under his eyelids? If it wasn't for that crisp slap, he probably didn't even realize that his eldest young master had been slapped by a 15-year-old young lady. Following that, a scene that made Jin Huang Lao even more shocked happened. He saw Yiqing Luo's lips curled up into a charming smile. That stunning face that could topple a city was bewitching and seductive, exuding an extremely seductive charm. Even the Jin Huang Lao who was over 50 years old couldn't help but lost his senses. He had to admit that this 15-year-old young lady indeed had the capital to become a femme fatale that could bring calamity to the country. He. I not only hit you, I also kicked you. The young lady's voice was sweet and slightly chilly. As the young lady's laughter approached, before Huangfu Dongyu could react, he felt a dull pain in his chest. Immediately, his body felt light as he flew out directly. Bam! In the end, Huangfu Donghuang's body crashed heavily into the empty space. Huangfu Donghuang rolled on the ground in pain as he wailed and tried to get up. He had just sat up when he felt a fishy taste in his throat. With a pft sound, he spat out a mouthful of blood, which stained his brocade robe. Lowly human from the lower realm, do you know what our Huangfu family is? Huangfu Fengyan was terrified as she stared at Yiqing Luo in horror. It seemed that they couldn't imagine that this innocent-looking young lady would actually hit their eldest brother again and again. Yiqing Luo sneered as her gloomy voice seemed to be ridiculing them. Don't let me hear a single word that insults my friend, otherwise every time I hear it, I will beat you up. You! Huangfu Fengyan was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows, her bright and beautiful face was overflowing with a flamboyant aura. It seemed to be saying, "You don't believe me? Then go ahead and curse. See if this old lady will beat you to death." Huangfu Fengyan was so angry that her eyes turned red. She asked Elder Jin for help in a low voice. At this moment, Emperor Jin felt as if his old face had been slapped loudly. This time, it was reasonable to say that he was too careless. But the second time was simply looking down on his authority as an imperial elder. Emperor Jin could not be bothered to guess the true identity of this 15-year-old girl. He only knew that if he allowed Yiqing Luo to make a move and insult his Huangfu family's young master or young Mississippi, their Huangfu clan would become a joke. His brocade robe fluttered, and his golden eyes suddenly shot out an extremely cold light. The next moment, Yiqing Luo clearly sensed it. The profound qi and fluctuations around Emperor Jin's body were constantly increasing. The surrounding air also began to condense into frost under the lingering of his profound energy. Chapter 1894. Yi Qing Luo wasn't worried at all in the face of the violent profound energy. She stood in front of Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi. She straightened her back without any intention of retreating. On the contrary, her pink lips curled into a sweet smile. As if she didn't care about Elder Jin's attack at all. Without a doubt, this caused Emperor Jin to feel even more humiliated. His anger surged, and the aura around his body began to surge, one after another. The profound qi was like a raging wave, just as it neared Yi Qing Luo. Suddenly, a stronger wave of profound qi blocked in front of Yi Qing Luo. It easily turned Elder Jin's profound qi into nothingness. Elder Jin stared at the wave of profound qi in front of Yi Qing Luo in shock. The expression on his face changed unpredictably. Not only had his profound energy been blocked, but it had also directly dissipated. How was that possible? Even in the upper realm, there weren't many people who could dissipate his profound qi. How could anyone in this lower realm be able to block his power? What on earth was going on? There was such a powerful person in the lower realm. How could the people in the upper realm allow such a person to destroy the peace in the lower realm? He, old man, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yi Qing Luo giggled. Who are you? Who are you? Elder Jin staggered a few steps back. His eyes were filled with unconcealable fear. Huangfu Fengyan barely managed to support Emperor Jin. The three siblings looked at each other, and their hearts were filled with shock. Who was Elder Jin? He was an extremely distinguished existence in the Huangfu family. But at this moment, he actually revealed a fearful expression towards a 15-year-old girl. Not only that, Elder Jin didn't gain any advantage in the hands of this 15-year-old girl. This world was too fantastical. Yi Qing Luo smiled and tilted her head. Old man, not only is your power weak, even your ears are weak? Why do you always make me repeat the same words? Saying that, she sighed softly and pretended to be helpless. No choice, I am the daughter of a good family who respects the old and loves the young. I have to explain again, I am Qiao Jin and this lady's family. If you want to settle your family matters, look for me. Respects the old and loves the young? Daughter of a good family? He. Why didn't they see it? In particular, Emperor Jin's current expression was ashen and ugly, like a vegetable. In the next instant, the great desolate Ian power in his body would go out of control. This was probably the first time the Metal Emperor had met someone who doubted his strength. Emperor Jin was supported by Huangfu Fengyan. Huangfu Dongyu was supported by Huangfu Qifei. The four of them stood opposite Yi Qing Luo and felt an indescribable strong pressure, pressing down on their necks, making it hard for them to stand straight. On the other hand, the people in front of them were smiling sweetly and chatting happily. This joy was imagined by Huangfu and the other two. In reality, Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's expressions contained hints of worry. Qing Luo, Huangfu family isn't a family from Nirvana realm. They are a family from the upper realm, Heaven realm's four great families. Qiao Jin looked at Emperor Jin's ugly expression as he reminded Yi Qing Luo softly. Heaven realm? Yi Qing Luo raised her brows in surprise. Little Jin, you're actually from the Heaven realm, that's amazing. This wasn't the main point, all right. The main point was that the target she was clamoring about was the forces from the upper realm's Heaven realm. Offending the Heaven realm's forces would have a huge impact on her future. If Huangfu family wanted to find trouble with Yi Qing Luo because of today's matter. Chapter 1895. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips rose slightly as she raised her hand and rubbed Qiao Jin's head. Be good, don't panic. Before I kill you, I will absolutely not let Huangfu family's people kill you. Qiao Jin gave up on communicating with Yi Qing Luo. They chatted as if there was no one else around. This caused the rage in the depths of Emperor Jin's heart to surge. He narrowed his eyes, and while Yiqing Luo was still chatting with Xiao Jin, his golden pupils suddenly flashed. A ray of golden light turned into a soaring energy as it sneaked an attack on Yiqing Luo. Qing Luo. Yan Xiaoyi faced this direction and immediately cried out in fear, "Be careful." Yiqing Luo blinked her eyes, her long curly eyelashes were like butterfly wings, gently fluttering. Hearing Yan Xiaoyi's call, she waved her hand without a change in expression, "It's all right." His words had just ended when the golden light had already rushed in front of Yiqing Luo. With a loud bang, the golden light engulfed Yiqing Luo entirely. Qing Luo. Xiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi cried out in alarm at the same time. Yan Xiaoyi wanted to rush forward and break through the golden light. Xiao Jin held her little hand tightly, the expression on his face was extremely solemn. "Don't go over. Elder Jin's power is not something you and I can contend with. If you are touched by Elder Jin's dark force, even you will be engulfed. Qing Luo is here to save us." Yan Xiaoyi struggled against Xiao Jin's hand as her eyes instantly turned red. With a sobbing tone, she angrily rebuked Emperor Jin, "So what if you're the Emperor Elder of a great family in the Heaven Realm? You still have to sneak up on a 15-year-old girl. Is this the style of your so-called big families?" Emperor Jin was extremely annoyed by the scolding. His face was boiling hot, and his heart was filled with shame. However, he would never admit that he had ambushed a 15-year-old girl. As long as he killed these people, who would find out if he hid this matter? With this thought in mind, Emperor Jin looked at Yan Xiaoyi with a murderous look in his eyes. "Elder Jin Huang." Xiao Jin immediately pulled Yan Xiaoyi into his arms. He stared at Elder Jin warily and threateningly. "As the heir, I order you to retract your murderous aura." Emperor Jin laughed sinisterly. All of a sudden, he left the spot. Like a bolt of lightning, he darted towards Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin's golden eyes flashed and he hurriedly wrapped his arms around Yan Xiaoyi's waist to avoid Elder Jin's attack. He narrowed his golden eyes, and a dazzling golden light shot out. "Are you disobeying the heir's orders? This old man is only doing this for the future of the successor's young master. These evil women who have changed the successor's young master must be eliminated." Elder Jin spoke in a dignified manner. Obviously, he had made up his mind to kill Yan Xiaoyi. "You want to eliminate us?" Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice came from behind Emperor Jin. It was like a pearl falling onto a plate, pleasant to the ear. However, in Emperor Jin's ears, but it was like an evil ghost that wanted to take his life. It was as if an ice-cold hand had gripped his neck. Emperor Jin's body suddenly tensed up. A cold object was pressed against his neck. A face that could topple cities appeared in front of him. The girl's charming eyes curved into a long and narrow arc, bewitching and seductive. She was laughing. Her smile was charming and enchanting. Emperor Jin's heart skipped a beat and suddenly shrank. Just like what the old man said, as Jin Zi's family, I should eliminate evil people like you who don't think for the successor. Yiqing Luo said with a smile, but the seriousness in her words could be heard. Emperor Jin didn't dare to move. Chapter 1896. Yiqing Luo blinked her pure and innocent eyes as she beamed, "Because, I have a protector." Protector? What the hell was that? Elder Jin's face was filled with uneasiness and doubt. Yiqing Luo very kindly raised her voice, "My guardian angel, there's someone here who wants to see you." In the air, there seemed to be a faint sigh. That sigh was filled with a touch of pampering and helplessness. The next moment, the surrounding aura suddenly fluctuated, pressing down on everyone, making it hard for them to breathe. Shortly after, the void turned pitch black. A man dressed in a purple robe, like a banished immortal, stepped on the air. The purple robe billowed, peerless. The figure that was slowly walking over was surrounded by a purple flowing light. Under the pitch-black void, it was extremely eye-catching. When a few pairs of eyes fell on that peerless face of peerless elegance, all of a sudden, their legs went limp. In the next instant, he knelt on the ground with a clatter. Elder Jean didn't even care about Yiqing Luo's glower flame fan as he knelt directly on the ground. The sharp blade cut through his skin. He didn't care at all as he respectfully knelt on the ground. Yiqing Luo kept her glower flame fan and stretched out her hands to the man who was coming towards her. "Protector, I want a hug." The man's peach blossom eyes were filled with a pool of spring water. The way he looked at Yiqing Luo was pampering and gentle. He stretched out his hand and caught the young lady who pounced on him. His slender fingers gently brushed the hair on her forehead. Yiqing Luo rubbed against his palm contentedly, like a cat who had succeeded in stealing a fish. The sweet atmosphere between the two of them. Anyone could tell the relationship between the two of them. Elder Jin's forehead was covered in cold sweat. No wonder, a 15-year-old girl was able to block his attack and dissipate his profound energy. So it was the Overlord who had been secretly protecting her. If he had known that this young lady and the Overlord were so close, he would never come down to the Nirvana realm to catch any successor. Get up and get lost. Dmo Xian glanced at Elder Jean and the others. His tone was cold and emotionless. Emperor Jean kowtowed fiercely and said with a trembling voice, "Yes. Yes. This lowly one will leave immediately, leave immediately." As he spoke, he crawled up from the ground, dragging the other 3 Huangfu siblings with him as he hurriedly left. "Wait." Dmo Xian's eyes flickered as he spoke in a calm voice. Dong dong dong. The sound of their knees hitting the ground was extremely clear. When Yiqing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but felt a stinging pain in her knees. Xiao Jin is the brother of the future Empress. If the future Empress does not release him, then you people from the Heaven Realm should obediently stay in the Heaven Realm and not try to create trouble. His voice was calm, and there was no way to hide his emotions. However, he was still emanating an irresistible pressure. It was as if he was born with a sense of nobility that made people unable to help but kneel and kowtow. Emperor Jean trembled uncontrollably, not daring to defy him at all. Not only did he want them to stop harassing Xiao Jin. Even if Dmo Xian wanted Xiao Jin to never return to the Huangfu family, he would also agree. Who cares about their ancestors' recognition? Who cares about the Huangfu clan's inheritance? Once Dizun was offended, don't even talk about inheritance. Whether the Huangfu clan could still exist was a problem. Dmo Xian swept a glance at Huangfu clan and the rest and spat out a word coldly, "Get lost." The next moment, Emperor Jean led the 3 of them and left without stopping. Star. Chapter 1897. The battle plain was immersed in dead silence. Yiqing Luo stretched her waist as her slender brows rose slightly, as she swept a glance at Dmo Xian with a smile which didn't look like a smile. Her 2 fair and tender little hands climbed onto his face. Yiqing Luo's pink lips curled into a charming smile. "My protector, the person has already been saved, tell me. How do we break the array?" Dmo Xian held onto the little hand which was pinching his face, as he knew the anger under her smile. He sighed lightly as he grabbed her hand and placed it by his lips, giving a light kiss. "If you want to break it, I can do it any time." Yiqing Luo's smile became even more radiant, but she withdrew her hand from his lips. The atmosphere was a little strange. On the other side, Xiao Jin's golden eyes were filled with a complicated expression as he looked at Dmo Xian, as though he was trying to guess something. But when Dmo Xian inadvertently glanced over and fixed his gaze on him, Xiao Jin suddenly felt a chill in his heart. His eyes flickered slightly, as though he understood something. He immediately hid away the complicated deep meaning in his eyes, as he lowered his eyelids and hugged the lady in his arms tightly. Qing Luo. His voice broke the strange atmosphere. He hugged Yan Xiaoyi as he walked towards Yi Qing Luo, as his face turned pale. "You're too rash. Huangfu family's power is something you can't imagine. Moreover, those arrogant imperial elders are so narrow-minded, they will not let you off." He raised his eyes and took a look at Dmo Xian as he pursed his lips. "Even if the Overlord is here today, but the Overlord can't possibly be by your side all the time. If Huangfu family wants to make a move, I'm afraid even the entire imperial palace will not be able to protect you." Xiao Jin had grown up in Huangfu family since young. He knew everything about Huangfu family like the back of his hand. That seemingly noble and powerful family. Just how dirty and disgusting was it behind the scenes? Especially those 5 sanctimonious imperial elders, each more sinister and treacherous than the other. Yi Qing Luo had humiliated the golden imperial elders today. And humiliated the 3 Huangfu family members. Huangfu family would definitely not let Yi Qing Luo off easily. Yi Qing Luo struggled her arm. Dmo Xian released the hand which was around her waist. Breaking away from the man's restraint, Yi Qing Luo slowly walked towards Xiao Jin. He was only 2 steps away from Xiao Jin. She stood still, and the corners of her mouth curled into a wicked and arrogant smile. That pair of enchanting and bewitching eyes flashed with nobility and elegance that made people look up to her. "Jin, I've said this before. No matter who it is, those who offend me will be killed no matter how far away they are. So what if it's the upper realm, one of the 4 heavenly clans of the heaven realm?" Her tone was calm. However, it still caused everyone to feel a boundless shock. "Those who offend me will be punished no matter how far away they are." What kind of confidence did he have to be able to say such a thing? Xiao Jin's anxious and worried heart slowly settled down from Yi Qing Luo's words. "Since you don't want to return to the Huangfu family and become the so-called heir, then don't go back. No one can force you to do anything." "Yes, except for me, of course," Yi Qing Luo said in a serious manner, but suddenly thought of something and immediately changed her words. The solemn atmosphere instantly collapsed because of this change of words. Yi Qing Luo gave a few dry coughs as she raised her hand and patted Xiao Jin's shoulder hard. "To me, living a good life with my brothers, relatives and lover is enough. As for the rest, as long as we are united, there's nothing we can't cross." Qing Luo. Xiao Jin's golden eyes flashed as he was so touched that he murmured Yi Qing Luo's name. The next instant, Yi Qing Luo's heart-stirring smile on her face was replaced with a strange and crafty cold smile. Star. Chapter 1898. Bam, a loud sound was heard. Yi Qing Luo's finger knocked hard on Xiao Jin's forehead. That strength was obvious just from the sound alone. Yi Qing Luo absolutely did not show any mercy. "Lil Luo, Dmo Xian's brows creased as he immediately held Yi Qing Luo's finger as his expression sunk. Xiao Jin hugged his head in pain as tears welled up in his eyes. A pair of golden eyes looked at Dmo Xian with an extremely aggrieved look. Right, Overlord, quickly teach this violent woman a lesson. If he didn't restrain her. In the future when they got married, the news of Overlord suffering from domestic violence would spread throughout the entire Nirvana realm. However, Xiao Jin only saw Dmo Xian holding Yi Qing Luo's hand gently. His slender fingers touched the finger which she used to knock Xiao Jin's forehead earlier. "If you want to hit him, just use any fellow to hit him. Why do you need to do it yourself? What if your finger hurts from knocking?" Xiao Jin. Was there any justice in this world? Xiao Jin's heart was filled with grief and indignation as he resisted the urge to condemn Dmo Xian and Yi Qing Luo for abusing the dog. Suddenly, a hand gently pressed on the place where he was knocked by Yi Qing Luo earlier. A soft little hand, carrying a lady's fragrance. Xiao Jin's heart inexplicably turned soft. Does it still hurt? Yan Xiaoyi rubbed his forehead as her fingertips were gentle, as though she was afraid that she would hurt him. That little hand was like a feather, rubbing around his heart. Xiao Jin's heart melted a little. A broad palm held Yan Xiaoyi's hand tightly. I don't feel pain. The man's palm temperature was scorching hot. It also scorched Yan Xiaoyi's hand. Yan Xiaoyi's beautiful eyes flashed as she immediately retracted her hand. Sorry. Xiao Jin subconsciously wanted to grab it, but his hand stretched out halfway as he thought of something. His hand froze in mid-air and finally retracted back bit by bit. He shut his eyes as he suppressed the restlessness in his heart. When Yiqing Luo saw this, her lips twitched a few times. This Xiao Jin, what on earth was his brain thinking about? Xiao Yi had already done this much. If he was a man, shouldn't he take this opportunity to express his feelings? Why was he still acting coy? What was he trying to do? Earlier, Elder Jin had tried several times to get Xiao Jin to bring Yan Xiaoyi back to Huangfu family but was rejected by Xiao Jin, which Yiqing Luo had witnessed. There was only one word in her heart to describe her feelings at that time. Damn. Shit. This kind of melodramatic plot was happening right in front of her eyes. What's more, the female lead was her best friend. At that time, Yiqing Luo's heart felt as though there were 10,000 bulls galloping around. Now, Xiao Jin still had a look of enduring love. Yiqing Luo's impatient character couldn't wait to knead the both of them into a ball and settle the matter directly. Yiqing Luo took a deep breath and calmed her impatient heart. Soon after, she fixed her gaze on Xiao Jin and said in a calm voice, Xiao Jin, if you're still a man, then sort out your own feelings. Don't force your own thoughts onto others. Just because you think something is good doesn't mean it's really good. You're always worrying about whether you'll be a burden in the future, hurting others, hurting yourself, and in the end, you'll be alone for the rest of your life, regretting it for the rest of your life. She intentionally emphasized on the word her, as though she was referring to something. When Xiao Jin heard that, his body tensed up, as though he was moved by Yiqing Luo's words. Yiqing Luo continued, one should live in the present and live well every single day today. If you're worrying about tomorrow every day, then tomorrow after tomorrow, how tired would you be living? Chapter 1899. Xiao Jin's mind kept reverberating with Yiqing Luo's words. His throat was dry and after spitting out a word, he didn't say anything else. Yiqing Luo's words were right. He was indeed a waste. So useless that he didn't even dare to grab his own future. In his mind, Yan Xiaoyi's hurt expression surfaced. Yan Xiaoyi looked at him, her eyes were filled with pain. Yan Xiaoyi was exhausted, as though she had lost all hope towards this relationship. But at the next moment, Xiao Jin recalled these 2 days. Yan Xiaoyi kept on brainwashing him, saying that she liked him, loved him and didn't want to leave him. She was such a proud lady. But she put down her status, under the situation where he didn't respond. She kept repeating her feelings over and over again. As though she wanted to tell him all her love. Xiao Jin's heart suddenly twitched fiercely. A dull pain struck his entire body. He thought that he was doing it for her good. But in actual fact, he hurt her deeply. He had been worrying for nothing and had imposed his own thoughts on Yan Xiaoyi. He wanted Yan Xiaoyi to accompany him and suffer from the pain of this relationship. He was really too selfish. Too selfish. In the name of love, he did things that hurt Yan Xiaoyi. He really wasn't fit to be called a man. That old man has almost cleared all the surrounding monsters and the next wave of newborn monsters will probably be 1 hour later. You have 1 hour here to talk things out clearly. Yiqing Luo looked at Xiao Jin's moved expression, as his body was trembling slightly, as she spoke calmly, feelings, is most afraid of dragging it out. Speaking to this point, Yiqing Luo's voice paused as she squinted her eyes, as a tinge of apprehension surfaced. Lastly, let me give you a piece of advice. You're not Xiao Yi, so what right do you have to make a decision for Xiao Yi? Saying that, she tugged Dmo Xian's sleeve, as she turned around and walked towards the other direction of the battle plain. In this empty space, only Qiao Jin and Yan Xiao Yi were left. Earlier, Yiqing Luo's words were all heard by Yan Xiao Yi. It wasn't that she didn't understand the deep meaning behind Yiqing Luo's words. But she didn't dare to understand, nor did she dare to think too much. Afraid that if she thought too much, it would only make her feel more despair. Looking at Yiqing Luo's departing figure, Yan Xiao Yi instinctively wanted to chase after him. She didn't want to be alone with Qiao Jin. He also didn't want to hear the answer from Qiao Jin's mouth. But Yan Xiao Yi was just about to leave with Yiqing Luo when her wrist was held tightly by his large palm. She was shocked and wanted to break free from his hand. Her evasive attitude made Qiao Jin's handsome brows knit together tightly. He grabbed her wrist forcefully and pulled her into his arms. His powerful arms restrained the woman and pressed her delicate body into his embrace, not giving her any chance to struggle free. "You, let go." Yan Xiao Yi pursed her red lips, not daring to look into his eyes. Was he in such a hurry to cut all ties with her? Qiao Ji knew that his previous actions had hurt Yan Xiao Yi's heart, which was why Yan Xiao Yi was against him. But, want to talk to her gently. Yan Xiao Yi didn't have that intention and just wanted to escape. Qiao Jin's heart sunk as he recalled what Yiqing Luo said. He didn't want to make himself regret again. He also didn't want to hurt Yan Xiao Yi again, to make himself suffer, to make Yan Xiao Yi suffer with him. How his future would turn out. It depended on himself, and no one else. Thinking in this way, the decision in Qiao Jin's heart became even firmer. His slender fingers clasped Yan Xiao Yi's lower jaw tightly, forcing her to raise her eyes and meet his gaze. Star. Chapter 1900. Slut Jean. What the hell do you want? Yan Xiao Yi was unable to shift her line of sight, and could only use her beautiful eyes to glare fiercely at him. Her pink cheeks were tainted with a trace of shame and anger. "What do you want to say? What do you want to say?" I'll listen, I'll listen." The strength of Qiao Jin's fingers slightly lessened. His eyes had already returned to their ink-black color. His deep eyes stared fixedly at Yan Xiao Yi. Looking at her gradually reddening eyes, his heart twitched violently again. "In the past, you didn't even know how to be reserved and kept pestering me, saying that you loved me. Now, you're not even willing to talk to me?" The Yan Xiao Yi of the past 2 days was even more pitiful. Unexpectedly, this sentence of his made Yan Xiao Yi's eyes redden even more. She bit her red lips and her eyes were filled with a trace of resentment. She stared into Qiao Jin's eyes and said word by word, "Yes, I don't know how to be reserved. Qiao Jin, I just like you. Because I like you, I don't need to be reserved. Are you satisfied now?" Qiao Jin. He was dumbfounded. Did he say something wrong again? Looking at Yan Xiao Yi who was on the verge of tears. Qiao Jin wished he could slap his own mouth. He hurriedly let go of Yan Xiao Yi's chin and wrapped his arms around her petite body. He frantically tried to explain, "Sorry. Xiao Yi, I didn't mean it that way." Yan Xiao Yi quietly lowered her head and did not speak. Qiao Jin hurriedly said, "I'm not saying that you don't know how to be reserved. I want to keep you here. Don't go, listen to me." Yan Xiao Yi was still quiet, but her heart was beating faster. Qiao Jin's attitude and tone of voice. It made Yan Xiao Yi feel as though she was in a dream. But she didn't dare to think too much. "Xiao Yi, other than the students of Devil class, I've never had any special contact with any girl before, so I don't really know how to coax a girl, and I don't really know how to not treat a girl as my own brother." Little by little, Xiao Jin's words caused Yan Xiaoyi's heart to tremble. She lifted her eyes in shock and looked at Xiao Jin's face in disbelief. He said, "We don't treat each other like brothers." What does that mean? He said he wanted to coax her. Was she dreaming? But when she met Xiao Jin's eyes, that pair of eyes that were usually frivolous were now filled with sincerity. His large palm cupped her little face. "Xiao Yi, didn't I promise you that as long as we can leave this place alive, I will tell you my answer?" Yan Xiaoyi's chest tightened as her heartbeat accelerated. His gaze was fixed on Yiqing Luo without blinking. "My answer is, Yan Xiaoyi. Towards you, I don't like you." His beating heart suddenly felt as if it had fallen into an icehouse. His heart was throbbing, and in that instant, it suddenly turned cold, so cold that it could pierce through his bones. Yan Xiaoyi's eyes gradually reddened. What else was she hoping for? After a long time, she lowered her eyes, wanting to pry open Xiao Jin's hands. However, he suddenly pressed his lips against hers. His warm, thin lips kissed away the tears at the corner of her eyes. His kiss was extremely gentle, extremely gentle. "Towards you, I don't just like you. I love you. I love you, Yan Xiaoyi." His deep voice, beside her ear, was like a splendid firework blossoming. She was stunned. Because of his gentle kiss, her heart, which was in a daze, seemed to have stopped beating. She almost forgot to breathe. What did he say? He loved her. He loved her. Chapter 1901. Drops of tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. It was different from the tears just now. These were tears of joy. "Xiao Yi, I'm serious. I really, really love you." When Xiao Jin saw that her tears were gushing out even more fiercely, he raised his hand helplessly and wiped her tears away. He stammered over his feelings for her. From his appearance, it was obvious that he had no experience in the field of relationships. Yan Xiaoyi couldn't help but let out a pft laugh. There were tears in her smile, and her beautiful eyes were filled with joy and sweetness. "Xiaoyi, I'm telling the truth. Don't doubt me." Xiao Jin anxiously held her hand. "From a very, very long time ago, I only had eyes for you, a long time ago." Yan Xiaoyi wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. "How long ago?" Xiao Jin's ears turned red. It's just that a long time ago, when I first saw you in the devil class, I fell in love with you." Yan Xiaoyi laughed. "Love at first sight?" Xiao Jin nodded vigorously. Actually, Xiao Jin himself did not dare to believe that he would fall in love at first sight with a woman from the lower realms. But it was that one glance, Yan Xiaoyi's figure, her smile and her frown, that had been deeply engraved in her heart. Xiao Jin tightened his arms around Yan Xiaoyi's slender waist. "Xiaoyi, I'm sorry. I've always loved you, but I used that as an excuse to hurt you." Yan Xiaoyi's teary eyes were filled with sweet happiness. However, after hearing Xiao Jin's words, a cunning look flashed across her eyes as she pushed his chest forcefully. "I don't believe you." Xiao Jin instantly panicked. "Really? I really liked you from the beginning. Then why, even though it was love at first sight, you refused to tell me? Even when I threw away my reservations and took the initiative to tell you my feelings, you still refused me." The delicate Yan Xiaoyi, at this moment in front of the man she loved, was like the girl next door. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi understood clearly why the usually arrogant Yiqing Luo, in front of Dmo Xian, would behave like a lady. She was like this now. Yan Xiaoyi did not intend to let Xiao Jin win the beauty so easily. If it wasn't for Yiqing Luo's words, which woke Xiao Jin up, wouldn't she be left behind by Xiao Jin for a period of time? Wasn't she going to be depressed because of Xiao Jin's rejection? Thinking up to here, anger surfaced on Yan Xiaoyi's face. Xiao Jin trembled with fear as he watched, and immediately explained in a warm voice, "You have also seen it, my clan. I am not someone from the Nirvana realm. In the future, I will definitely head to the Heaven realm and become the successor of the Huangfu clan." At this point, his expression dimmed a little. "I have no interest in the Huangfu clan, but the inheritance of the Huangfu clan is this pair of golden eyes. I'm the only one in the Huangfu clan who has both golden eyes. Only the inheritor of the Huangfu clan recognized by ancestor Huangfu will have two golden eyes." Yan Xiaoyi's anger dissipated a little. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his waist. "Is it because of your identity and your family that you keep rejecting me?" The Heaven realm was a place she could only look up to. If Xiao Jin returned to the Huangfu clan and inherited the Huangfu clan, then she and Xiao Jin would be separated by several planes, unable to meet each other again. "Yes." Xiao Jin buried his head on her shoulder. "I'm afraid that after we're together, if I have to leave you, you will be in even more pain." Star. Chapter 1902. There's another very important point. I'm afraid that because of me, you will meet with misfortune. Xiao Jin's voice was somewhat low and gloomy. I'm an inauspicious person. In the Huangfu family, everyone sees me as a plague and can't wait to keep a distance from me. If I didn't have a pair of golden eyes recognized by my ancestors, I'm afraid I wouldn't have lived until now. There was a hint of bitterness in his tone. Who didn't wish to have family? However, his extravagant wish would forever remain an extravagant wish. On the day I was born, my father died in an accident in the study. My mother also bled heavily to give birth to me. Her body was so weak that she could only spend the rest of her days in bed. My mother had a lowly status and had always been ostracized in the Huangfu family. If it wasn't for me, my mother wouldn't have stayed in the Huangfu family, and she wouldn't have become like this. At the mention of his mother, Xiao Jin's tone was full of guilt and sorrow. He tightened his arms and deeply inhaled the woman's fragrance. She was the only one who could calm his restless heart. It was the first time she heard Xiao Jin talk about his family. Yan Xiaoyi's heart was exceptionally heavy. Especially when she heard his bitter laughter. Her heart ached even more. Those people from the Huangfu family are vicious and merciless. They have always hated my existence and don't want me to appear in the Huangfu family and become the heir. If they know that I have a lover in the lower realm, they will definitely attack you in order to control me or deal with me. Xiao Jin's body trembled slightly. It was as if he couldn't imagine that scene. Yan Xiaoyi's throat tightened. She gently hugged his head. "Just now, when Elder Jin asked you to bring me back to the Huangfu family, you refused. Was it actually to protect me?" "Yes." Xiao Jin rubbed her delicate shoulder. "I don't want you to be in danger because of me." "You're really stupid." Yan Xiaoyi pursed her red lips speechlessly. "From your behavior just now, anyone can see that you value me very much, okay? Do you really think that Elder Jin won't attack me because of your refusal?" The hand that was hugging his head couldn't help but knock on his head. "Rather than leaving me alone in the lower realm, why not bring me with you, at least in front of your eyes? Only when you see it with your own eyes can you be truly safe." Xiao Jin was startled, suddenly lifting his messy head from the rubbing of her palms. Yan Xiaoyi was right. Clearly, Elder Jin had seen through his lies just now. No matter how much he tried to distance himself from Yan Xiaoyi, no matter how cold he treated Yan Xiaoyi. However, with Emperor Jin's temperament, he would rather kill the wrong person than let him off. How could he let go of Yan Xiaoyi, who had fought alongside him? He was too worried about Yan Xiaoyi. Instead, he neglected the others. "Don't you know, you thought you were doing it for my own good, but not only did you push me to a more dangerous place, you also. Yan Xiaoyi pursed her lips, looking like she was about to cry, you broke my heart. Xiaoyi, don't cry, don't cry. Xiao Jin instantly panicked, his eyes filled with panic and helplessness. He reached out to wipe Yan Xiaoyi's face. I know I was wrong. I now know that I was wrong. If you're upset, then hit me. I'll hit you until you're appeased, okay? Don't you know, what you said to Elder Jin really made me want to give up on you. Yan Xiaoyi's beautiful reddened eyes stared deeply at Xiao Jin. Star. Chapter 1903. Xiao Jin grabbed her little hand and blew on his face. It's all my fault, my mind isn't clear and I've made the wrong decision. Yan Xiaoyi's little hand was grabbed by him. She kept on pounding on his face with force. Towards this, Yan Xiaoyi expressed her extreme helplessness. Her lips twitched a few times as she forcefully retracted her hand from his hand. Xiao Jin was stunned, thinking that Yan Xiaoyi wasn't willing to forgive him as a sliver of nervousness and cautiousness surfaced on his face. His jet-black eyes looked at Yan Xiaoyi carefully. This look made Yan Xiaoyi not know whether to laugh or cry. Did she look that fierce? Was her temper that big? She only wanted to throw a tantrum, to grumble and complain about Xiao Jin, at least to get back all the disheartened feelings that she had suffered in Xiao Jin's hands. Who knew that Xiao Jin would be so anxious? Yan Xiaoyi's little hand circled around his waist as she pinched his tight waist fiercely as she complained helplessly, I really don't know what's going on in your mind. Thinking of you. Xiao Jin buried his head on her shoulder as his words were unclear, my mind is filled with you. Yan Xiaoyi's cheeks flushed red. When did he become so glib-tongued? He actually knew how to say such words to make her happy. Although she had been flirted with. But Yan Xiaoyi tried her best to maintain her rationality. In order not to be angered by Xiao Jin's stupidity in the future. Yan Xiaoyi expressed that she must untie the knot in Xiao Jin's heart. Hence, Yan Xiaoyi's fingers which were pinching Xiao Jin's waist became even more forceful as her beautiful eyes were filled with a sliver of anger. Humph. It's too late to say nice things now. Slut Jin, Qing Luo is right about one thing, on what basis do you have to make decisions for me? Xiao Jin gave a light hiss as he drew in a breath of cold air in pain. But he obediently accepted Yan Xiaoyi's caress without struggling. Yan Xiaoyi saw his face turning pale from the pain. Xiao Jin didn't cry out in pain but she herself was the one who started to feel heartache. In her heart, she secretly tested the love she had for Xiao Jin. Her hand changed to hammering his chest as she angrily rebuked, you said that you fell in love with me at first sight, but because you were afraid of being separated, you didn't dare to be with me. Now, let me tell you, I'm not afraid. Not being able to be with you is what I'm most afraid of. Since you like me so much that you want to give up on me, then why do you think that I can't choose to wait for you or follow you to the Heaven Realm and the Huangfu clan because I like you? Xiao Jin lowered his head. Yan Xiaoyi's slender fingers fiercely poked his chest, you are the successor of the Huangfu clan. In the future, when you return to the Heaven Realm, you will also become the patriarch of the Huangfu clan. At that time, the Huangfu clan will be in your hands. You can totally come down to the lower realm to find me or pick me up. Why do you think that I can't stand being separated from you? Xiao Jin was rendered speechless. He also felt that once he was involved in Yan Xiaoyi's matters, his brain would not be able to function normally. If Yan Xiaoyi knew what he was thinking in his heart, she would definitely roll her eyes to express, obviously you're the one who's stupid, I'm not going to take the blame for this. Moreover speaking, your second reason is that you're an unfortunate person? How are you unfortunate? Your father's death, that's because his life has come to an end. That's his life, what has it got to do with you? Currently because of you, you're being ostracized by the Huangfu clan. Don't tell me that before you were born, she wasn't ostracized too? Xiao Jin was stunned as he stared blankly at Yan Xiaoyi. Chapter 1904. Lucky? Was he really? His mother's luck? Because you're the only one left. As the successor's mother, you will receive the best care, isn't that so? Yan Xiaoyi raised her hand and brushed past his stunned face. Moreover, it's because you're around that she can work hard to live on just for you. Her fingers were very gentle. Smoothed out his frowning brows. And smoothed out the knot in his heart. It's you, who prolonged your mother's life, and also prolonged my life. When Yan Xiaoyi said the last sentence, her cheeks blushed slightly. Her eyelashes fluttered as she unnaturally shifted her gaze away and coughed lightly as she continued, so I say, you're not some unlucky person. Otherwise devil classes students wouldn't have today's transformation, and we wouldn't have met Qing Luo. Xiao Jin's murky and complicated heart, at this moment, suddenly became extremely clear. He seemed to have seen a ray of light through the endless darkness. His heart was suddenly enlightened. Xiaoyi, thank you. Xiao Jin hugged Yan Xiaoyi fiercely. If it wasn't for Qing Luo's words, he would have woken up. He really didn't know how long he would miss Yan Xiaoyi again. The woman he loved so deeply. How could he bear to push her away time and time again? He was really so silly, so silly. Xiao Jin's large palm suddenly cupped Yan Xiaoyi's face. His jet-black eyes gazed deeply at Yan Xiaoyi, as though he wanted to imprint her face deeply into his heart. Xiaoyi, in the past, it's all because I'm too silly. My self-righteousness, made you sad, made you sad. His fingers, bit by bit, caressed Yan Xiaoyi's face. His gaze was tender, as though water could be squeezed out of it. I will use my entire life, to repay you. His words landed. He had already bent down and kissed her lips. It was different from before, when his emotions were unstable, the overbearing kiss. But he didn't conceal his feelings at all, that kind of deep and sincere kiss. As though he wanted to use this kiss to convey all his feelings. For the rest of his life, he would accompany Yan Xiaoyi by her side, loving her and not letting go. The future was grasped in his own hands. As long as he was together with Yan Xiaoyi. No matter what accident, he would not be worried or afraid. For Yan Xiaoyi, for their future. He would do everything in his power to protect her. Yan Xiaoyi's eyelashes fluttered as she closed her eyes, enduring the man's gentle kiss. Tears of happiness overflowed from the corners of her eyes. She had finally connected with Xiao Jin. Finally, she could openly fall in love with Xiao Jin. They were finally together. Another nothingness in the battle plain. Qing Luo raised her brows frivolously as she looked at Dmo Xian with a smile that didn't look like a smile. She didn't say anything. But from her posture, it was obvious that she was telling Dmo Xian, whatever things you've hidden from me, you better tell me everything obediently. Be honest and lenient, resist and be strict. Dmo Xian looked at the young lady's expression and sighed helplessly. He knew that if he appeared in front of the Huangfu clan today, he would definitely die. His identity would definitely be suspected by Qing Luo. Although this would not affect the relationship between him and Lil Luo, but this feeling of being concealed. Lil Luo would definitely not like it. Dmo Xian stretched out his arms towards her. The girl was obedient and snuggled into his arms. Her arms encircled his waist as her chin rested on his chest, raising her head to look at him. The crafty look between her brows was obvious. It was still that smile which didn't look like a smile. There was a kind of feeling that if she didn't get the answer, she would not give up. Chapter 1905. Qing Luo's eyes flashed, no? She had indeed guessed this answer before. Dmo Xian's ability had completely surpassed the standard of Nirvana Realm's cultivators. His existence could be said to have broken the balance of Nirvana Realm. But Dmo Xian rarely made a move. The only few times he made a move were all for her. But if Dmo Xian was really someone from the upper realm, staying in the lower realm for such a long time and being so high profile, wouldn't he be forcefully ordered to return to his own realm by the envoy who maintained the peace of the various realms? Like Qiao Jin, his heaven realm's heir, came down to the lower realm and even knew to hide himself like an ordinary person. Dmo Xian's high profile was something that everyone in the Nirvana realm knew about. To be able to make the heaven realm's imperial elders fearful, and wantonly run amok in the lower realm. What was Dmo Xian's identity? Lil Luo, listen to me. Dmo Xian pinched her chin as his slender fingers caressed her tender lips. Her charming eyes met with his ink-black eyes. Yiqing Luo saw the seriousness in his eyes and a trace of complicated emotions that she couldn't understand. It's not that I'm unwilling to tell you everything about me. On the contrary, I hope that you can understand everything about me. Dmo Xian's fingers were very light as he fiddled with her pink lips, as though he was igniting a fire on her lips. But Yiqing Luo didn't sense any feelings from Dmo Xian at all. And there was a kind of unprecedented seriousness. Her heart trembled slightly, and her long, curly eyelashes were also trembling. In the future, I will tell you everything about me clearly, okay? Dmo Xian's fiddling fingers stopped. His gaze was filled with seriousness as he gazed deeply at Yiqing Luo. Indeed. He still couldn't say it out. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes drooped slightly. It would be a lie if she said she wasn't upset. But she also knew that Dmo Xian didn't say it was for her own good. There were too many existences in this different realm which exceeded her knowledge. If he were to pour everything into her mind right now, it would be too late. She probably wouldn't be able to digest it. No matter if he was the Imperial Palace's Dmo Xian or the overlord whom the Heaven Realm's Tian family feared. He was her and only Xian. There was no doubt about this. Since Dmo Xian did not wish to reveal his identity, he definitely had his own considerations. He was worried that she would suffer more than she could handle at her current level. However, her self-adjustment, in Dmo Xian's eyes, had become, she was heartbroken that he had concealed his identity. Immediately, Dmo Xian panicked. In his peach blossom eyes, there was a trace of nervousness. Lil Luo, don't stay silent. His hand cupped her face. His fingertips trembled slightly, carrying a hint of probing. When he realized that Yiqing Luo didn't stop him from touching her, he slowly heaved a sigh of relief as his large palm touched her face even more. Looking at Dmo Xian's anxious expression, Yiqing Luo was about to open her mouth to explain but swallowed it back into her stomach. A trace of craftiness flashed past her long and narrow eyes. The calm expression on her face immediately converged and turned into a look of suppressed anger. Looking at Dmo Xian, her voice trembled slightly. Dmo Xian, what do you want me to say? She raised her eyes and her eyes reddened. She pursed her pink lips tightly as she spat out every single word. Don't tell me you want to hear me say that I know you're not telling me is for my own good? You don't wish for me to suffer any harm and you don't wish for me to be afraid of your identity and leave you? Star. Chapter 1906. Dmo Xian, who had always used his aura to make others speechless, was stuttering at this moment. Facing Yiqing Luo, he naturally didn't dare to use his so-called aura to suppress her. He could only coax and spoil her, wishing that he could hold her in his palms and love her dearly. What Yiqing Luo said had indeed poked out all the worries in his heart. It wasn't that he couldn't tell Yiqing Luo about his identity. He just didn't wish for Yiqing Luo to be troubled or make any changes because of his identity. What he was most afraid of It was the last point that Yi Qing Luo mentioned. She would be afraid of his identity and leave him. Of course, he believed that Yi Qing Luo wouldn't be afraid of him because of his identity. But she would leave him. This wasn't to say that Yi Qing Luo was someone who would escape when she met with danger. But he understood Yi Qing Luo's character too well. If Yi Qing Luo knew his identity, she would definitely force herself to become stronger. She would leave him, and when she had grown to a level that was compatible with him, then she would appear again. Dmo Xian couldn't stand a day without Yi Qing Luo. But when he saw Yi Qing Luo's eyes turning red, staring at him with a reproachful gaze, Dmo Xian's heart was throbbing in pain. This was the first time he had such an uneasy feeling. This was the first time he had such a feeling of worry. Lil Luo, I don't mean it in that way, if you want to know, A burst of laughter interrupted Dmo Xian's anxious voice. He was stunned as he stopped his voice, looking at Yi Qing Luo's smiling face. The young lady's tensed face had softened at this moment. Her curved eyes, narrow and devilish, sparkling with a dazzling luster. She was smiling, bright and gorgeous, a beauty that could topple a city. Dmo Xian knew that he had been teased by Yi Qing Luo again. Yi Qing Luo laughed as she laid in his arms. Idiot, those words were indeed what I wanted to say. What words? Dmo Xian's brows creased slightly as he hadn't reacted in time. His reaction made Yi Qing Luo laugh even more joyfully. I know the current me, not knowing your identity, is much safer, and I won't let my imagination run wild because of this. She paused for a moment and her arms wrapped around his neck as she beamed and said, It doesn't matter if you don't say it. You just have to remember one sentence, no matter who you are my, Yi Qing Luo's man, so I will absolutely not leave you. Dmo Xian knew her. How could she not see through Dmo Xian's hidden worries? Since she had decided to be with Dmo Xian, she absolutely did not want any negative emotions or worries to appear between the two of them. She would never leave Dmo Xian. No matter when. Lil Luo, The young lady's sonorous and forceful words, each and every word, struck heavily on Dmo Xian's heart. The worry he had been feeling all this time vanished in an instant. He tightened his arms around the girl in his embrace. But Xian, when I am strong enough, you must personally tell me everything about yourself. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose overbearingly as she looked at his eyes seriously. Dmo Xian's eyes were filled with smiles as he spat out a word, all right. I still want to go to the place where you grew up, to understand everything about you. Her identity as a transmigrator, as well as the secret of the 21st century where she grew up, had already been told to him. By then, she wanted Dmo Xian to tell her everything, just like how she told him everything about herself today. Star. Chapter 1907. Looking at the young lady's beautiful face, it was filled with a complacent and overbearing expression. Dmo Xian's heart seemed to have been filled by her smile. The lines on his face were so gentle that there was no trace of harshness or coldness. It was filled with pampering and love towards the young lady. He nodded and his voice was extremely gentle, all right. No matter if it was this lifetime or the next lifetime, he would never let go of her. She would belong to him forever and ever. So, until then, he would let Yi Qing Luo understand everything about him in detail. Including, on the bed. After getting Dmo Xian's reply, Yi Qing Luo leaned towards his face and planted a big fragrant kiss. Following that, she opened her arms and hugged his muscular body, acting coquettishly in his arms. You're obedient, I'll forgive you for hiding it from me now. She pressed her face against his hard pecs again. She mumbled a few words indistinctly. After all, before this, I had also concealed my identity as a transmigrated girl. If it wasn't for the fact that I had entered the godless array, I don't know how long I would have to hide it. Same to you." The young lady's coquettish action made Dmo Xian's mood improve greatly. He rubbed the young lady's hair, his heart filled with tenderness. This was the lady whom he had his eyes on. Indeed, like what Yiqing Luo had guessed, approximately 1 hour later, large batches of monsters were born on the battle plain. The minute those monsters appeared, they started to tangle with the surrounding monsters. There were even quite a number of monsters, who directly found the 4 humans who were still on the battle plain. 2 pairs of passionate lovers, lost the place to talk about love. After the 4 of them killed the monsters which were blocking their way, they gathered together again. Yiqing Luo looked at Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin's tightly intertwined hands, as she gave an ambiguous smile. Yan Xiaoyi was so shy that her face turned crimson red, as she leaned her head towards Xiao Jin's shoulder. Xiao Jin chuckled as he touched the back of his head, with a face full of smiles. "Qing Luo, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. If it wasn't for you, I would definitely have done more wrong things." Yiqing Luo smiled with her eyes curved. "I won't." Xiao Jin didn't react to Yiqing Luo's words. "Even if I didn't remind you, you wouldn't do anything stupid." Yiqing Luo revealed her pearly white teeth as she clenched her fists so hard that a cracking sound could be heard, "Because I will directly wake you up." Xiao Jin's neck shrunk back as he recalled that when Elder Jin was still around, Yiqing Luo had once said that she wanted to give him a good thrashing, and he instantly became terrified. "I've completely woken up now, this thrashing. I don't need to take it, right?" "That's hard to say." Yiqing Luo smiled insincerely as her eyes curved. Xiao Jin's face darkened, looking like he was furious but did not dare to speak. On the contrary, it was Yan Xiaoyi who felt heartache as she hurriedly pulled Xiao Jin behind her and said with a red face, "All right, Qing Luo, don't bully that silly goose. He's originally stupid, and after being bullied by you, he'll become even more stupid." Yiqing Luo couldn't help but teased, "TSK, you haven't even married yet and you're already speaking up for Jin Z. AI, a married sister is like water that has been splashed out, Qing Luo." Yan Xiaoyi's cheeks turned even redder as she stared at Yiqing Luo resentfully. This adorable look made Yiqing Luo laugh even more happily. She was indeed a young lady in love. Her every action revealed a charming and adorable young lady's look. "All right, stop fooling around." Dmo Xian held Yiqing Luo in a timely manner. "If you continue fooling around, the surrounding monsters will all focus their attention on you." Yiqing Luo's slender brows rose slightly as she surveyed the surroundings. As expected, she discovered that the thousands of monsters that had just been born were all looking towards their direction. Star. Chapter 1908. Yiqing Luo's bright eyes flashed as her face revealed a scared expression as she threw herself into Dmo Xian's arms. "Oh my, so scary," the pair of love-struck couples. The fake acting made Yan Xiaoyi's lips twitched uncontrollably. Even showing off their affection wasn't like this, right? Before today, she had been suppressing the feeling of liking Xiao Jin, suppressing the fact that after being abused by Xiao Jin, she still had to eat Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian's various fancy dog food. Was it easy for her? Today she finally managed to pull Xiao Jin along to show off in front of Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo just retaliated like this? Can't we just play around happily? Could they still be sisters happily? Yan Xiaoyi gritted her teeth in anger. But unfortunately, Dmo Xian was very cooperative as he stretched out his hand to hug Yiqing Luo and even patted her back gently. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." A certain love-struck couple was speechless. Could they also use dog food to retaliate? The thousands of monsters around them howled in unison. Dmo Xian narrowed his peach blossom eyes as he swept his sleeves slightly. A burst of powerful profound energy covered the sky and earth as it enveloped the entire empty space. In an instant, the empty space regained its tranquility. Those thousands of monsters seemed as though they had never appeared before, not even a single speck of ashes could be seen. A certain love-struck couple was dumbstruck. Yiqing Luo's lips curled as she circled around the man's neck and planted a kiss on his face. God of protection is the best, awesome, a certain love-struck couple. Damn it! They would stop showing off their affection in future, alright? The dog food and whatnot would be taken care of by the two of you, alright? Acting cute and showing off dog food was enough. Yiqing Luo restrained her actions as she looked at Dmo Xian seriously. Ah Xian, let's break the array. We've disappeared for a few days and that bunch of kids in devil class are probably going crazy from anxiety. Dmo Xian rubbed her hair as his expression was calm. Don't worry, even if we didn't make a move to break the array, that person should be letting us out. That person? Yiqing Luo raised her eyes in puzzlement. You're talking about Shi Shanglan? No, it should be. Godless Island's young master? Dmo Xian only smiled and didn't answer Yiqing Luo's question. Yiqing Luo automatically treated that person as the fake Shi Shanglan. Shi Shanglan spent a lot of effort to lure them into the soulless formation. How could he let them out so easily? She could tell that Shi Shanglan was pretending to be Shi Shanglan, using the identity of Yan Xiaoyi's fiancé to get close to her and the devil class. Their goal was definitely not simple. He had his ambitions. If he didn't get what he wanted, Shi Shanglan would not give up so easily. Would he really take the initiative to let them leave the soulless formation? Why don't we make a move first, to test the waters? Dmo Xian looked at the young lady's face that was deep in thought as his thin lips curved upwards. As soon as he finished speaking, his sleeves fluttered, and a shimmering purple light shot out. Bang! Boom! A few deafening explosions reverberated in the void. All of a sudden, the purple light flashed across the pitch-black sky like a bolt of lightning. The airflow was monstrous, as though the air in this plane was affected by this ray of profound light. They felt a little suffocated. Immediately following that, the battle plane shook violently. In the pitch-black void, it seemed as though a huge hole had been torn open. Like a malevolent bloody mouth, it opened its mouth wide, revealing its sharp teeth. Star. Chapter 1909. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, that tear opened wider and wider. The entire battle plane seemed as though it was about to be torn apart, squeezing into other planes. In a split second, the tear had already opened up to a width of about 5 meters. Not only Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin were stunned. Yiqing Luo herself was also stunned. She looked at that tear in disbelief as she asked in a daze, Ah Xian, what is that? This plane, is it really going to collapse? Dmo Xian replied calmly, aren't you in a hurry to get out? This is the way to force him to open the entrance of the godless array. Yiqing Luo blinked her eyes, feeling a little lost. Xiao Jin explained by the side, I've once read about the godless array in Huangfu family's books. It said that the godless array is able to connect to all the planes in the world, and is a forbidden array which is not accepted by the world. Once one of the planes merges with another plane, it would break the balance between the various planes. The person who unleashed the array will be punished by the heavenly way, dying without a burial ground, never to be reincarnated. Yiqing Luo understood as she raised her brows and smiled, which means to say, Ah Xian is forcefully tearing the battle plane apart now. Once the planes near the battle plane merges with the battle plane, when the battle plane's monsters start to reproduce again, this group of monsters will also affect the nearby planes, causing chaos. At this time, the Shi Shanglan, who unleashed the array, will be punished by the heavenly way. Xiao Jin nodded, that's what I mean. Yiqing Luo couldn't help but laughed out, Xian, your method is really simple and crude, but I like it. Shi Shanglan dared to scheme against her. Then he would have to bear the consequences of their retaliation. Sure enough, when the tear gradually opened to about a dozen meters or so, Yi Shiwen's eyes widened. Shi Shanglan finally couldn't bear the fear of being punished by the heavenly way. An intense ray of light shot down from the top of the battle plane. Following that, they saw that elegant young man standing at the center of the light, looking at them with a gloomy face. Stop. All of you stop right now. Shi Shanglan was no longer as gentle as before. His expression was ferocious as he pointed at them agitatedly and roared, "This is a formation that I created. If you dare to touch this formation, I will kill all of you in this formation." At this moment, he still wanted to scare Yi Qing Luo and the others. Yi Qing Luo raised her head and looked at the ashen-faced man with a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. She leaned lazily in Dmo Xian's arms and smiled charmingly. "Really? Why don't we try and see who dies first?" Yi Qing Luo. Shi Shanglan gritted his teeth and roared. Yi Qing Luo picked her ears as her brows raised frivolously. "Are you relying on sound to make us die in the array?" Puqi, Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin laughed out loud. Shi Shanglan's face was ashen. He could not imagine that his invincible godly array was actually unable to tame Yi Qing Luo and Dmo Xian. The so-called heart attack formation I had not only failed to take down Yi Qing Luo and Dmo Xian. On the contrary, it was taken down by Yi Qing Luo. What's more, his father had already sent news over, ordering him to immediately open up the entrance of the array and let Yi Qing Luo out safely. His father already knew about the matter of him using Godless Island's forbidden arts for himself. And his plan for the array had also failed. Not only had it failed, he had even offended the Imperial Palace, an overlord whom even his father was wary of. Star. Chapter 1910. His father would never let him off. Everything he had was ruined, he had painstakingly planned for such a long time. He had even tried to get close to that bunch of trash in Devil class. In the end, it had ended up in such a state. How could he take it lying down? How could he take it lying down? The ferocious face of Shi Shanglan was extremely terrifying. He gritted his teeth and glared at the huge hole that had been torn open. He said sternly, "Do you think that you can force me to let you out by using such a method? Don't even think about it." "Young master." Wuxia's voice was heard faintly, "Island master's orders cannot be violated. If you continue to wait, you will be punished by the heavens." "Shut up." Shi Shanglan berated, "Even if I die, I will drag them along with me." Using the godless array without permission had already violated the Godless Island's rules. Even if he really opened up the entrance and let Yi Qing Luo and the rest out, his father would never let him off so easily. In any case, everything that he had been pursuing had been destroyed. It was completely destroyed. Death was all that awaited him. Then he would bring these people along with him to hell. "Young master, are you crazy?" When Wuxia heard his young master's crazy words, he immediately rushed up and hugged Shi Shanglan's waist. "How could the island master let you die? You are the island master's favorite young master. If you die, are you going to hand over the position of young master to someone else?" Wuxia's words made Shi Shanglan's struggling body suddenly stiffened. His eyes widened, filled with panic. He didn't want to. How could he bear to hand over the position of young master to someone else? In order to become the island master of Godless Island, he didn't hesitate to use up his own lifespan to forcibly display the godless array. How could he be willing to give it up to those sanctimonious hypocrites? Just as Shi Shanglan and Wuxia were arguing endlessly, suddenly there was a vibration from that opening. Suddenly, he saw a figure walk in from the entrance. Yi Qing Luo saw that person and smiled with raised brows. "Yu Ming, you're just in time. Are you waiting for the right time?" Yu Ming slowly walked to Yi Qing Luo's side with a calm expression. Facing Yi Qing Luo's ridicule, there was no reaction. He lowered his head, feeling depressed. No one knew if he was thinking or if he was annoyed that the search missile couldn't find what he wanted. It was because of Netherwoman's attitude that he was bitterly disappointed. These were not within the boundaries of Yi Qing Luo's concern. Since he didn't say, Yi Qing Luo couldn't be bothered. Of course, the prerequisite was that he wouldn't have any ideas about her again. This episode made Shi Shanglan realize the severity of the situation. Wuxia was right. Even if he violated the rules of the Godless Island, as long as he was still the young master of the Godless Island, his father would not punish him severely. If he was really punished by the heavenly Tao because of the Godless Array, he would never be able to reincarnate. He would really lose more than he gained. Especially when he saw that someone had entered the battle plane through the tear. Shi Shanglan, completely panicked. In the blink of an eye, the beam of light floating in the void covered the tear in the void. The entrance appeared before everyone's eyes. Dmo Xian seemed to be asking for credit as he lowered his head and stuck close to her ear as he whispered, "The entrance is out." Yi Qing Luo decisively smoothed his hair and kissed his face, "My guardian god is the best." Dmo Xian was satisfied. The few of them slowly stepped out of that beam of light. It was as if they had entered the Godless Array for a tour, taking a stroll around. The group of people were unscathed. Just like that, he calmly walked past Shi Shanglan. Star. Chapter 1911. At the same time, the battle plane, which had already cracked open for nearly 20 meters, was gradually closing up. Following that, the Godless Array's entrance light was also completely shut at this moment. Shi Shanglan's entire body turned soft as he laid paralyzed on the ground. His eyes stared deadly at Yi Qing Luo. Wuxia immediately protected Shi Shanglan with a stern expression. However, after Yi Qing Luo and the rest walked out, they didn't even give them half a glance as they directly walked past them and slowly walked out of the secret room. Just as they were nearing the secret room's exit, Dmo Xian halted his footsteps as he glanced sideways. That pair of brilliant peach blossom eyes revealed a piercingly cold glint. Wuxia felt a chill running down his spine as his legs turned soft as he half knelt onto the ground. "Convey to your island lord, regarding today's matter, I will personally pay a visit to discuss with him in detail." Saying that, he hugged the young lady in his arms tightly as he walked out of the secret room without turning back, leaving behind two people who were half kneeling on the ground as they broke out in cold sweat. The place where Yi Qing Luo and the rest were at was exactly the place where they entered the array. Yi Qing Luo had already drawn out the map of the treasure-gathering pavilion in her mind. After a moment, she brought the few of them out of the secret room and returned to the extremely remote sundry room in the treasure-gathering pavilion. There were usually very few people who passed by the sundry room. However, when the few of them just came out from the sundry room, coincidentally, a team of 10 people who were dressed in the guard's uniform walked towards them. When that guard saw Yi Qing Luo, his face instantly revealed an overjoyed expression as he shouted at the top of his voice, "Found it, found it. Madam Yi Qing Luo has found it." This howl was heard by Yi Qing Luo acutely. Numerous footsteps, blotting out the sky and covering the earth as they surged towards their direction. Momentarily, the entire ground was filled with dust as it floated along with the wind. Immediately following that, she saw a huge wave of people, charging towards them in an imposing manner. Weren't the siblings Shiruo Yu and Shiruo Shi right at the front? Following closely behind was Tong Ziqing, Long Yunzhan and the rest. What situation was this? Yi Qing Luo and the rest had a dazed expression. Shiruo Shi had already pounced into Yi Qing Luo's arms as she hugged her tightly. "Sister. You're finally back. Ooh, I thought I lost you." Shiruo Shi sounded like she was about to cry. Her tearful and hazy appearance was very lovable. Yiqing Luo immediately stretched out her fingers and brushed away the tears on Shi Ruoxi's face. What's wrong? As he spoke, Shi Ruoyu, Long Yunzhan, and the others stepped forward. Their gazes started to size up Yiqing Luo. He heaved a sigh of relief after confirming that she had no external injuries. Shi Ruoyu's face was filled with guilt. It's all because I didn't manage the treasure-gathering pavilion well that you guys encountered danger. You've been missing for almost 3 days. Long Yunzhan's cold voice could not hide the slight tremble in it. Tong Ziqing's usually cold and elegant face couldn't help but tear up. Where did you guys go? We've been looking for you for 3 days. Our brothers are dying of anxiety. Behind her, 10 over Devil Class's students all had red eyes as they looked at Yiqing Luo. He was clearly happily participating in the auction at the Jubao Pavilion. He had not expected that when the guests arrived, they saw Yan Xiaoyi being kidnapped, and following that, Xiao Jin had disappeared. Following that, there was news of Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian disappearing from the Jubao Pavilion. They instantly got anxious. Yan Xiaoyi was kidnapped in front of the guests. Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian must have gone to save Yan Xiaoyi. Chapter 1912. The siblings Shi Ruoyu and Shi Ruoxi blamed themselves endlessly. They increased the number of guards to search for Yiqing Luo and the others. Devil Class's students also joined the search team. Finally, found them. Yiqing Luo gently touched Shi Ruoxi's head. Shi Ruoxi sniffled and squirmed out of Yiqing Luo's arms, pouncing into her own brother's arms. She knew that she wasn't the only one who was worried about Yiqing Luo. Now that she had confirmed her sister's safety, she was assured. Yiqing Luo looked at Shi Ruoxi's actions as she laughed helplessly. This lass was really so obedient that it made one dote on her. She smiled gently, raised her eyes, and fixed her gaze in front of her. In front of her were faces filled with worry. Her charming eyes blinked as it sparkled with heartache and touched. Her eyelashes were also wet as she tried her best to curl her lips, blossoming into a bright smile as she stretched out her hand towards them. Brothers, we're back. Her clear and sweet voice was filled with deep emotion. That pair of crystal-bright eyes, faintly rippled with tears. Devil Class's students finally couldn't hold it in. They swarmed forward as they surrounded Yiqing Luo and the others in groups. They were worried for Yiqing Luo and the others for 2 days. They were finally assured. Luckily, everyone was fine. Long Yunzhan stood by the side, his azure blue eyes, looking at the excited crowd. His brows couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. After the laughter, someone reacted, "Right, we have to inform the other brothers immediately, they are still trying to find out about your news in South Continent." That person was preparing to leave anxiously when he was stopped by Shi Ruoyu. "Something happened to you in Treasure Gathering Pavilion. As one of the representatives of Treasure Gathering Pavilion, I should bear all the responsibility. Tonight I will set up a banquet at Drifting Fragrance Restaurant. Take it as my apology to Devil Class's students." That Devil Class student looked towards Yiqing Luo. On seeing Yiqing Luo nodding, he swiftly scuttled out of Treasure Gathering Pavilion. The entire storeroom started to bustle with noise and excitement. Devil Class's students were chattering incessantly, asking where Yiqing Luo had been these 2 days. Just as they were in the midst of the joyous noise, suddenly a surprised voice was heard, "Xiao Yi! Xiao Yi!" Everyone was startled and looked in the direction of the voice. Yan Xiaoyi falls into Xiao Jin's arms. Under the sunlight, her delicate face was strangely pale, like a fragile doll. "What's going on?" Yiqing Luo frowned as she pushed the crowd aside and walked over. Xiao Jin hugged Yan Xiaoyi helplessly, his face pale. "I don't know. She just suddenly. Let me take a look first." Baiming Lu squeezed through the crowd and immediately took Yan Xiaoyi's pulse. After checking his pulse for a long time, Baiming Lulu's face sank and became extremely ugly. Xiao Jin nervously tightened his arms. What's going on? Is Xiao Yi alright? She was poisoned. Baiming Lulu's expression was grave as she released Yi Qing Luo's hand and stood up. This poison is too complicated, I have no way to cure it. You can't do anything? Lulu, you're the descendant of a divine doctor family, you can't have no way. Qing Luo. Xiao Jin's pupils constricted, and when he heard Baiming Lulu's words, his expression instantly turned ugly, as though he had lost everything. He instinctively sought help from Yi Qing Luo. As long as Yi Qing Luo was around, she would absolutely not let anything happen to Yan Xiao Yi. Jin Zi, calm down, nothing will happen to Xiao Yi. Yi Qing Luo comforted him. Following that, she looked towards the other brothers. Is Ghost Doctor Master still in South Continent? You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.